Hi, guys. I should let that fade out. It's awfully abrupt. What is happening? All right. So for the sake of not being here for 80 hours again, because we made it like more than halfway through, which is pretty impressive when you consider how much time we've stopped. We're going to get started. Teresa does have the link. She'll be here at some point, I guess. Hopefully she remembered how many hours behind she is from me. All right. So back again today. We're picking up where we left off yesterday, reviewing Hidden True Crimes interview with Jerry Holeman. Now that the gag order is up, I put it back maybe a minute. That way we get to try to remember whatever dumb shit was being said when we stopped. I know you guys can see it. Make sure before we go on that you can hear it.
Within seconds, he'd come back down.
Could you hear him? Who's a troll? Honestly, the trolls can chat anyway, because all they do is kick us up higher in the algorithm. Fine by me. All right, good. We can hear. Okay. Oh, look at that. Look where we froze. There's so many good spots to freeze. We get lucky almost every time. All right, let's start.
Sat on the bed and said, "No, I'm fine." They wanted to take him to the padded cell, and he was just able to control.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's go back a little.
Violent human being.
Oh, and so where we ended was him saying basically that they wanted to show video of him at the new jail that he's at. And he goes on and on about how he's this violent human being. He's a monster. He's an animal. He was perfectly fine 1 second, and then he was off the bed screaming like a crazy person and making slashing gestures, I guess, with his hand to his throat. And they didn't let the jury see that, blah, 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 blah. All things that, once again, we simply can't confirm, and he can just say whatever he wants.
I think that showed that he has that ability to lose his temper and become a monster. And then within seconds, he'd calm back down, sat on the bed and said, "No, I'm fine." They wanted to take him to the padded cell, and he was just able to control it like that. And I think that, in my opinion, is he got angry at the bottom of the hill on February 13th. The girl said or did something, or something happened, and he's capable of doing that.
But I thought you said that I thought you were going off of the confessions where he said that he was lying in wait. Because that takes some level of control and patience versus now you're saying they had some type of interaction where the girls pissed him off and he turned into a monster. And also, we're equating something that they could have possibly done or said to, at this point now, over a year of being tortured by these folks that he's lashing out at. I don't think it's the same.
He's capable of losing his control and coming into and being that beast that he is that day, and killing 2 innocent teenage girls. So I think that was kind of important. But again, the judge ruled against it. It was too prejudicial, and I believe that she made the right decision. Although I don't understand it.
You don't understand much, Jerry. Hey, Teresa.
What's up?
I was hoping you didn't forget about it. I was like, does she remember how many hours behind she is?
I had to restart my computer, so now everything's I think I logged into the wrong account for my StreamYard too. I don't know. Everything's a fucking mess.
Well, you're here, so that's what matters. I was like, I was shocked how far we got. We're more than halfway done.
Yeah, we did get, I mean,
Damn it. What happened? She disappeared. I'll play some more while she kicks her children off the internet, because that's clearly what needs to happen.
Sometimes I think we should put everything out there. You know, same thing, you know, I'm sure the defense thinks, you know, why couldn't we put the Odinism in? Well, the judge ruled the Indiana statute clearly states that you have to establish a direct criminal nexus with a third party defense.
Boy, there's nothing like running your mouth when you have no clue what a direct criminal nexus is. But he's on his mommy's side that basically, whatever it is, they didn't do it. I think they finally settled on it being DNA at the crime scene, but it's a little contradictory because like they don't have Richard Allen's at the crime scene. They do have like other male DNAs though, but they just don't know who it is and don't care apparently. Here you are. You're back.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm the right one now. Okay, perfect.
You know, your profile picture looked different, but I just assumed that you changed it. So I think you were on your other one.
Yeah, I think that was my old one. That's okay.
Oh my god!
Because like I said, I restarted the computer, so like I had to log back into all my shit. Okay, what did I miss that you just did? Anything good?
So what he just said is that he agrees with the judge, but doesn't really understand why they weren't allowed to show the jury the video of him freaking out at the new jail. And then he equates that somehow to why Odinism wasn't allowed in, and that based on Indiana statute, they have to have a direct criminal nexus, and they didn't have that. So that's why it wasn't allowed in. How the two things are similar, I have no idea.
Well, it's his Jerry Holeman logic. Gotcha.
Like, unless he would have said, he would have been wrong, but if he would have said it would have been prejudicial to the prosecution to have allowed that in, like that would have been a reasonable comparison. It still would have been wrong, like I said, but you're just randomly bringing out Odinism for what? I don't know. It's not the same thing. Yeah, he works on hitting all the buzzwords for sure. On his post-it notes. He's hitting all the buzzwords on his post-it notes. All right,
let's see.
And they couldn't do that. They had 3 days to do it. They couldn't do it. And we knew that because, again, we spent months trying to tie those people to the crime. And there's just not any evidence or facts that tie them into it. So that's another decision that she made. And I think that those are the reasons why. And she followed the law on those decisions, whether we like it or not. It's probably the right thing to do. Without a doubt, it's the right thing to do.
We'll see. Like, how would he know that it was the right thing to do?
Because remember,
they won.
Like a lawyer apprentice now. Remember?
Oh, he's apprentice lawyer. Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I'm surprised he even uses that word. Apprentice. Do you think he watched Apprentice? I bet you he did.
He probably did. Oh yeah.
There was no nexus. There was no probable cause. And
why is she saying that a nexus is probable cause? Why are we so hung up on why are we stuck on probable cause?
I don't understand how they don't know what probable cause is.
Probable cause and odd are like the two things that I've lost track of how many times it's been repeated here.
She goes, there's no nexus, no probable cause. Nexus and probable cause are not, they're not interchangeable. Those are not synonyms.
They're not, but I think she thinks they are. I mean, it sounds like she's synonym. Yep.
in other words, you couldn't add.
In other words, right? So
yeah,
they're the same thing.
That third
party. In other words, there was no nexus, no probable cause.
Yeah.
To that third party sort of theory to the case.
You just can't say Lauren did it. You know, I didn't do it. Lauren did it. They have to have a direct criminal nexus. Or
let's be so for real. They definitely said way more than just Richard Allen didn't do it. So and so did it. Like, we're dumbing it way down again. Like, that was all they did. Like, they went in and were like, we should be able to present this to the jury because, like, he didn't do it. We think they did it. Like, please come on.
Connection to the crime scene. And The only
There
person that had that connection was Richard Allen. Nobody else.
That's
What
also
happens when you
debatable.
don't? I was like, yeah, exactly.
That's
Well,
also
and you
debatable.
don't
And
bother to
also,
test the rest of the evidence, so you don't actually know if anybody.
exactly.
We're gonna save the evidence for advancements in testing, and just in case, because then after Richard Allen's killed and we figure out who those hairs actually belong to, and all that male DNA that we don't know.
Yeah, it's basically, well, if we don't check it, then technically nobody else has a tie to it. You know what I mean? It's just an unknown somebody has a tie, and yeah, you can't. I mean, I maybe you could. I don't think it would be helpful, or I don't think it would work if you would go in and say maybe it's one of the unknown people. I think in general a jury would say, well, if Richard Allen didn't do it, who did it? And being able to name names is more effective. But I love every time I pause. I think that's why I do it so much.
Somebody apparently hate watched us yesterday, by the way. Surprise, surprise.
I got a message. I was like, she literally doesn't make any sense, but it's okay because I will take her rage view. And if she wants to share it also, then I'll take their rage views also.
Share the rage views.
It never.
Gary Holeman is a moron, and now that makes us bad people to call him a moron when he obviously doesn't. Simply look at the words he uses, and then pull up the definition, and then see if you think that he's still correct.
Yeah. It never ceases to amaze me that trolls don't understand that the more they can hate me all they want to. And trust me, there's plenty of people that don't like me. But the more attention they draw to me, the more attention I get. And it's not bad attention. You know what I mean? Just pretend I don't exist like I do you. There's a reason your numbers are low everywhere.
So big mad that we don't like Jerry Holeman.
I'm allowed to not like whoever I want to not like. You know what I mean? I hate you for not liking Jerry.
Yeah, you're a terrible human being. You don't like Jerry Holeman, you piece of crap person.
All right. But I know that there's people here that like Lauren, and that's perfectly
here's
fine.
My problem with this is I watched Lauren so much during Valo Daybell. I mean, she was so on
People
top
say
of
she was
it.
great. Yeah,
she absolutely was. My frustration here is that she jumped into the case without learning any of the background, thinking that sitting in that trial gave her everything that she needed to know. And I'm hoping the people who are actually friends with her make sure she understands that there's so much outside of that trial. The whole reason so many of us are so frustrated with the trial is because there's so many facts that were not presented there. So I'm frustrated because she did such an in-depth coverage and you want to call it investigation, whatever the hell you want to call it, into the Valo Daybell, where she was okay, she knew
she
all
educated herself.
She did. She knew all the nexuses between all the peeps. And here it's she just doesn't. I don't know if it was Delphi was prime time at that point. And so it frustrates me because I'm I fucking liked listening to her. And now I'm you just don't. You don't know what you're talking about. And it's frustrating to me to have somebody with a platform of 230,000 people and you don't know what probable cause is. Don't be a true crime channel and not know what you're talking about. That is a struggle for me. And don't have somebody like Jerry Holeman on here where you're saying we're going to ask you all the questions because you want you're saying you're going to have transparency and you don't care that we ask you anything. Then ask him. But she doesn't know what to ask him. So it's such a
that is the problem. And it's mostly I think it's mostly irritating when you're looking at it from the view of a person who makes it their business to, before running their mouth about a case, they absolutely educate themselves to the fullest extent possible. Like, there's been times where I've been talking to people like on a live and they're like, so and so a case, have you seen it or whatever? I'm like, I've seen it, but like, I don't know enough about it to even comment on it.
Right. That's kind of what I do. Like, I'm like, I know a little bit, or I know the basics, but I can't have an opinion quite yet because I don't know enough.
So
like,
I didn't watch her with Lori or any of that.
Oh, you didn't?
I did not. And like,
they were so good.
I don't personally like have a problem with her. And like I said, I know there's people in the chat that like her and that's fine. But what I will say, and you all can like whoever you like, I don't care. There are comments that are made in this interview that I find incredibly distasteful in terms of coming from someone who is not educated about everything that goes on here. Like you'll hear that there's just a few things, like, how like when you get with how they say, like, if you hang around a barbershop long enough, you get your hair cut, or you hang out with pigs and you start smelling like shit.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like the longer this goes on, it kind of starts bringing out like just things that made me get like, I was like, what? Like I was listening. I was listening. I had to go get pop when I got to my mom's house because she doesn't drink it. So like every time I come here, I show up and then I forget that like she doesn't drink it. So I have to go get some. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like, while my kid's at her house and I can actually put this on the car radio, I'm just going to listen to it. And when I got to like those points, I was like, what is happening? It's like the longer that this goes on, it's like now I feel like I have to also pile on. And there's just some really, from like a mental health perspective, things that are said that are distasteful. Well, I'll just let us get to it. You'll okay. I have no doubt that you'll know, like, what the comments that are made. And I have fairly thick skin. But there's just some things that I just find outrageous.
So that's why they didn't allow it. That's my opinion. Again, I'm not an attorney
well, the opinions are like assholes.
Definitely not a judge.
Definitely not.
That's how it was explained to me.
And by whom? Who do you think explained it to him that way?
Mullins.
Not having that third party theory was technically a loss, I guess, for the defense, you could say, who wanted that in. They wrote their Frank's memo.
Yes, Lauren, very much. It was actually like a loss for the Constitution, but yes, for the defense too.
But I want to point out too that the prosecution not being able to put in that moment of Richard Allen raging and doing this with his hand gesture, that was a win for the defense.
How are those two things the same?
That is not the same thing at all.
We're talking about a defense and investigation that was done before he was ever even arrested that pertained exactly to the crime. And we're comparing it to his reactions to jail staff, custody staff, after it's been over a year of him being tortured.
And has nothing to do with even the topic at hand where they were talking about him confessing.
Yeah. I'm missing the comparison of how these two things are synonyms.
And sometimes I think there's also
I'd have edited that out.
So the idea, because there was no video and audio in court. I want to say this. I saw Judge Gull rule a lot for both sides, for the defense and for the prosecution. I think that what she was working towards was a clean trial, in other words.
Yeah, I think early on in one of the hearings, she stated, I don't know.
Oh my God, what did I just do?
Did you do that, or is that when you put that lost connection? Maybe this is when he does that.
Oh my God! Somehow I turned it. I thought I was doing.
You're gonna go fucking Jerry Holeman in slow mo.
I thought I was going up.
It was odd.
He doesn't sound any worse, to be honest. Oh, what am I? See, I thought I was at 1.5. See, now I've broke it. Normal. Oh, scroll down. Sorry. My bad.
Exactly. Remember how she said that they were talking about she didn't know the facts, and she made a comment to, I don't need to know the facts. I'm the referee.
Oh, we do know what this is in reference to, right?
What is it in reference to?
At that, was it the 3-day hearings where he said, with all due respect, you don't know this case. You don't know this case like we do or whatever.
Oh, something like that. Yeah.
What she
Yeah,
said to
yeah,
Gall.
yeah.
That's what he's bringing up now.
I'm just the referee, basically. I just need to know, is what you're wanting fair and legally obtainable? If not, then I'm not going to allow it. And I thought she did a great job. Again, I've worked a lot of trials, and I think, she was very firm but fair. In my opinion, I think most judges are, because they're going to be scrutinized in every decision that they made as well, and she knows that. And so I think she took all that under consideration and made the correct decisions to the best of her ability.
I have just so many questions for you. You mentioned,
But I feel like we keep asking the same ones. I don't feel like we're asking anything new.
She's gonna go back to polygraphs and probable cause.
And nexuses. I have to say, before I hit play again, I caught some of the comments about his location from last night.
Oh yeah, how did he get to the shack?
I was absolutely hysterical.
How did he find the shack?
Oh my God, it was so perfect.
a bit about a theory of what happened, that perhaps one of the girls said something and it put Richard Allen into a rage. Do you personally have any theories on what happened that day on February 13th, 2000?
All right, brace yourself, because I'm pretty sure he like already told us like what happened. That it was a failed sexual assault. Blah 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 blah. We've already, but he's going to do it again. And
But he also says that Richard Allen has a bad temper, and so obviously one of the girls must have said something that set him off, and so that's why.
We'll see if that makes it. We'll see if what you just said, which is what he just said, we'll see if that makes it to his theory of the case right now. Okay.
2017, when Abby and Libby lost their lives. Can you take us through what you think happened that day?
Well, I think the evidence and the facts clearly indicate that they were out there, dropped off, possibly to meet somebody, or maybe just to go out there and enjoy a nice, unseasonably warm day.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, no. So
I love how we started.
They were there to meet somebody, but that person never arrived?
Yeah, I love how we started with, I think the evidence and facts clearly show that possibly now where he's back into his speculation mode.
And in Richard's own words, he laid in wait.
Okay, so he laid in wait. So
okay,
we're not talking about like accidentally running across them and somebody saying something.
Nobody lost their temper when something was said to them.
Yeah. So now he was like maybe laying under the bridge, maybe hanging off of the bottom of the bridge or something. And then he like pulled himself up because he was really strong then, so.
He already said in this interview that Richard Allen lost his temper because one of the girls said something, that was his theory.
Well, because that was his theory when he's trying to argue why it would have been important for us to have seen the video of him in the jail. You see what I mean?
Oh, yep.
He stalked them.
Now he laid in wait and stalked them.
Napped them by telling them to go down the hill by pointing a gun at them.
Okay.
I believe he was going to sexually assault them.
Why? What evidence is there that he would have ever sexually assaulted any child, or has ever thought about sexually assaulting any child, or has ever looked into sexual assault of any children? Like, where are we getting that belief?
Well, that's because when he very first arrived at the crime scene, one girl didn't have any clothes on and the other one had her clothes removed and other clothes put on, and he knew right away that it was a failed sexual assault.
Ah, yes. Okay. Everyone ignore Michael, whoever he is. I can't even see him, so.
I don't even see him.
Me either. Just ignore him.
At the bottom of that hill, underneath the trestle. My theory is that he probably commanded them to get naked and was going to do some sort of sexually gratifying acts there.
Now, I have to say, he really harps on all of this. He just took a bunch of time detailing all of that, which there was zero evidence of. Okay. And I think that we all know why, that it generally evokes a lot of emotion from people to think of monsters who think that way about children. So he just went off on a whole spiel about what he thinks he was thinking with no evidence. But we started this theory of what happened by saying that the evidence and facts clearly show that this is what happened.
But the van driven by Mr. Weber spooked him. You probably heard it. I mean, that's a long lane. You can hear it.
So now I agree with that. So first of all, so apparently the confession was that he saw a van and it scared him. Not that he heard it. Okay. I have multiple problems with this. So I've said before, with my house, I could hear someone a mile away coming because like we live in the mountains. So when someone's coming up the road, they might not even be coming to my house, but I can hear them before I can see them. I imagine it's quite similar there. And Lauren, I think, agrees with him here in a second. Then my question would be, at that time when that stuff was happening, why did the other people not hear or see the van? Like, that were out on the bridge. Do you know what I'm saying? Like somebody was out on the bridge that didn't even know that a private drive was below the bridge.
That are over there like taking pictures and doing all kinds of stuff.
Right. And no one could hear the girls going down the hill.
Yeah.
No one heard this guy yelling. Nobody heard the girls crying. Nobody heard any script. But like we heard Brad Weber's van coming down the road and it spooked him. Okay. God, what? Look at this. Look at this.
Do you have any wrenches?
I don't think so. Who knows how to be one?
I do. Just throw me a wrench. I'll type in here. Hello.
Well, don't I have to go like?
You have to be on YouTube and then just click on me and make me a mod.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if she asked him about like the actual missing evidence.
Do you mean like
the sock, the underwear, what they implied that somebody took with them? The perpetrators?
No. No, ma'am. Mm-mm. Where do I have to go? Do I have to go to studio?
No. You go on just like you're watching the YouTube channel, like go to your own YouTube channel, watch the live, and then in the chat, find me and hit the 3 dots next to my name. I'll say
Shut
hello.
up. You're kidding me. There you are. Oh my God.
There you go.
Did it work?
Let's see. Yep. Got it. Thank you.
Wow. Fancy.
Okay.
There we go. I did CH2 because I know that she's a mod. But I never like had mods because I like people just like people think I give a fuck like what they say. Like I don't like I literally it just scrolls by like I literally don't care unless somebody says like bad, there's like a bad word that I could think of like that I'll get rid of. But
I just don't understand why there's people in chat that we're not seeing on StreamYard. Like that's the interesting part to me.
Well, I have a feeling. So like when I went back to look at the when I went back to look at the live, because I was looking at the comments and it wouldn't let me go to all comments or like live chat or whatever.
Did you try to do it right after the live?
I tried to do it like a little bit, like a couple hours ago.
Oh.
It was only letting me see the top chat. So it's hard to tell who all we're missing. Sorry, Michael, but you're not in the top chat. We can't see you.
StreamYard should give you everything. I don't know. That's interesting to me.
I used to be able to like auto set it to where it was specifically all like it defaulted to that because I couldn't stand it. But I don't know what's happening. All right, let me. It looks like a menace.
Before it gets right up there.
You can. I've heard it.
Yeah. So I think that he then took him across that frigid creek and was being selfish and was a coward
Like, what does that mean? Do you find that odd? Like an odd thing to add? Like, it
Selfish
almost
and
feels like
coward.
he added that he was being selfish and a coward. Like, it's like he added that because he knows that was statements made in these crazy confessions, that he was selfish and a coward. Because otherwise it doesn't fit in the story he's telling. That doesn't make any sense. So he took them across the frigid creek and was being selfish and a coward.
So I'm curious what does he continue here on what he means by that? Probably not. I don't know what I'm thinking. Because selfish and a coward, I'm really confused on that. Is the coward because he kills them and that's the coward's way out? Is the selfish he doesn't actually sexually assault them? It doesn't really quite add up to me. It never really has when it comes to, then why is Abby redressed in clothing? Does Abby get herself dressed? Like, none of this is like important to them, which I don't understand. How is he selfish and a coward and he tells one of the girls to put her clothes back on and he doesn't sexually assault them? Wouldn't that be selfish if that was the whole intent on being in kidnapping them?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he's not going to elaborate, it doesn't make any sense other than basically, like I just said, he felt the need to, well, I hate to say it, but everybody making the jokes about like how he's got Post-it notes with like buzzwords on it. I mean, the longer this goes on, the more it seems like he does. So they're like, okay, we have like the confessions and these are things that are said in the confession. So I need to make sure that I keep like adding these things. And those specifically are two things I remember him saying.
Yeah. So he's just wanting to make sure that his narrative, once again, is still what's being put out.
Yes. And like
Because
matches.
this is not anything they ever thought before.
Right. Exactly.
I think he treated them like animals. And again, that's where my anger comes into how one human being could treat two other human beings that way. I think that he was selfish and thought that they were going to turn him in, that he failed to kidnap him. He failed to gratify himself sexually, and he slit their throats, put sticks on him, and how he can go on and live his life, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but he did.
But you pontificate on him faking being mentally ill and things like that. You're a psychologist when it suits you. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of other theories, but that's what the facts and the evidence clearly indicates happened.
But the entire time, yeah,
selfish.
But the entire time he was saying it, he was saying probably, maybe, definitely, maybe, could have.
But it does. But that's not even what the evidence shows. Somebody who's going to sexually assault the girls and is being selfish isn't going to have one of them get redressed. Or redress one of them. Like that's not what the evidence points to.
I wonder what his definition of evidence is, because now I'm really curious because because like we don't really know what probable cause is. We don't really like know what a nexus is. So I'm like wondering if we know what evidence means.
So that's what I believe happened. And it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Didn't need to happen.
From what I could tell and learn and understand, it seemed as if there was some, let's say, overkill with Libby. Do you feel that too? Because you're law enforcement, not me, and so this is me sitting in court. What was that about, or what are your feelings on that as law enforcement?
My best theory on that is she was probably bigger, stronger, maybe a little harder to control.
Yeah, but there was no defensive wounds, so she didn't even fight him, which is strange. But so no, that theory doesn't work, Jerry.
And that's my only explanation.
Well, that's a terrible one. I'm sorry, that's your only explanation. It doesn't fit the evidence.
With that, no. I don't know what was going through his mind, but to me that.
But he does know what was going through his mind when he was selfish. And what was the other one? Selfish and
a coward.
A coward, yeah. He knows what he's thinking there. And also that he was thinking he wanted to sexually assault them, but then couldn't. He knows what he was thinking there, but he doesn't know what's going through his head now. He doesn't know why Libby's wounds were worse.
That would be the logical answer, is she was probably a little bit physically stronger.
Really.
Abby wasn't near as big and developed yet. She's still young, but I don't know. I mean, only 3 people know, and 2 unfortunately are deceased, and the other one doesn't want to take responsibility for his actions. So,
or for something he didn't do. Or maybe he can't take responsibility. Maybe he can't tell you what happened because he doesn't know.
I just think it's funny that he's like calling anybody out for not taking responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is so far from taking responsibility from being one of the dumbest cops I've ever come across.
Also, the girls were like not that far apart in age. So what is he talking about? Like, what is he trying to say about Libby being more developed? Like, what does that even mean? And again, there's no evidence that she fought back.
That's a great question. What is he talking about developed? Like, why would that even come into play?
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'll ever know.
And one thing you mentioned is
Who's he looking at? Was he looking at Doug? Is Doug standing in the shed with
Look at his
him?
nose.
Yeah.
why they were there. They were dropped off because they either wanted to enjoy a seasonally warm day, or you mentioned
Unseasonably, Lauren.
Oh my God,
Unseasonably.
Unseasonably warm. Is it seasonably warm? Oh my God.
that they might have wanted
If you're going to say it right.
to meet somebody
Look at him. Gerald agrees.
there. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, they're
Why are we asking this again? We know what he
Why
meant
do
by
we
that.
care about
been there a
that?
lot.
Because she like needs to know if they went to enjoy an unseasonably warm day or if they went to meet someone. But do they not see, like, do they not see, like, that it creates a problem if he says, which he does, that he thinks that, like, they might have went out there to meet with Keegan, still, he thinks that. It contradicts, like, the whole idea that Richard Allen was the only person, he was the only one involved in the entire thing. Unseasonably crap. It's the most played out. It is the most played out thing. I'm tired of hearing it. Whoever wrote that.
I'm working on a Delphi documentary, and I'm going to put it in there.
Of speculation about Kagan Klein and the Anthony Schatz account. And we know
Yes.
that Anthony Schatz was communicating with Libby and some of her friends. We don't know.
While we're here,
We need Kelsey and some of her friends.
yeah, and also while we're here, like, we knew that he was a pedophile using a fake account, and also that he was talking to local children. Like, why did we allow him to like roam free for years? Anybody know? Why'd we let him like keep being a pedophile for years? Anybody?
Post-punk mama, I will. I'll call it Delphi, an unseasonably warm day.
Oh my God. No.
That's what the documentary is
For
gonna be
sure,
called.
if
Call it
that's why they were going out there or not. Unfortunately, with Snapchat and Kik and Musical.ly and some of those apps that people use to communicate, we can tell people are communicating, but sometimes we can't tell the content. But it wouldn't surprise me if maybe they thought somebody was going to be out there, or maybe a friend or something like that.
So, like, he's saying we didn't see any messages, but it might have been there. We just couldn't see the content. So I still might be right. They may still have tried. Like,
It could have been
really-
out there to somebody.
Like that. So that's what I meant by that.
Do you think it could have been Keegan? Do you think maybe they were perhaps wanting to meet Keegan or a cute boy at the trail or
Possibility that Anthony Schatz,
or like maybe one of them's current boyfriend, maybe. I don't know.
they thought might be out there, who obviously was a fake persona that Kagan was using. I don't think Kagan was out there. I mean, again, evidence indicates that he was not that day and time. So if there's evidence that would have proved that, then he would be in prison for that.
So let me tell you something.
There's
If
evidence that proves that Keegan Klein was not out there, but we chose to go ahead and take his confessions and spend millions of dollars looking for the evidence that he claimed was used at this crime.
Mhm.
But yet there's evidence that he wasn't out there.
Well,
What?
he knows that because of the I don't know if it was the trial or the 3-day hearings, where I think it was Vito that was like, we literally looked into everything that he said, and we have. Yeah, I'm really good with the freeze frames for him. I mean, it helps because he's so ugly, like inside and out. So it just happens to always end in a great spot. But It was Vito that I think said like they basically looked into literally everything that he said, and then something about the phone being like at his mom's or grandma's or whatever it was, that it was at home and it wasn't there. And
that would be the evidence that would show that he's not there, because that's what he's using for Elvis Fields, right? Like he's saying there's evidence that shows he's not there because his phone's not there.
yeah, but then he also said in the other side of his face, the back side of his face, that people know that they can track the phones, so they leave their phones at home when they go to commit crimes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So somebody's going to screenshot this and draw a penis. I just know it's going to happen. I'll see it on Twitter.
As well. I mean, obviously he's in prison for being the child predator that he is. But, you know,
why do we call Keegan a child predator and not a monster? An evil, like, why are we saying?
Because it's a downplay that Keegan Klein's not that bad.
Yeah. Oh, well.
we would not withhold that if we had probable cause to believe that he was involved in this.
If she says nexus, I'm going to throw
charges. And if any evidence comes up that he was, then we would pursue that. And we would write a report up, give it to the prosecutor, and he would determine whether or not.
Why is he being so detailed about what he would do?
Well, here's the thing, is that it doesn't. Everything they did with Richard Allen's trial will make it so they can never convict anybody else.
Right.
Because they made sure to tell the whole world that they have all come to the agreement that Richard Allen did this and acted alone. He did it by himself. That's why when you said yesterday the tip line's still open, and why? What, the case is closed. You guys solved it, right? What are you looking for?
And Nick's saying that the other people aren't cleared, but they told the judge that they were cleared.
Right.
You told the judge they were cleared. That's why she said no.
We cleared all these people. They're all cleared. We cleared them right away. Nope. Nobody's been cleared. That's the same shit that fucking Carter did with the family all the time. Well, we cleared some of the family. Well, no, we've not cleared anybody. No, we cleared. Well, so, you know, depends on what you want to say is cleared.
I think they just don't know. I think that's why
No, they don't know what the fuck happened. They don't know what happened to those girls. And they just wanted to say, look, we did our job, because they were tired of people online talking bad about it.
Yeah. He does. He talks in circles this whole hour and a half.
That would be the case.
But he goes into great detail just then about all the way down to they would write up a report and give it to the prosecutor, and then he would be like very detailed about exactly the steps that they would take. It's funny because he's not taking into account the fact that they lose all that stuff, like the evidence and all. He should probably include that in his detailed description, that at some point they'd lose things along the way. Okay.
You know, I do want to go back to Odinism really quickly, because Odinism became a very, very big deal when the Frank's memo, the defense wrote their Frank's memo discussing their defense, which again was that this was an Odinistic ritualistic killing. You've mentioned that this was something that had been investigated, by law enforcement. There was no evidence, there was no nexus, there was no probable cause.
Oh, there we go again.
No, they don't understand the fucking definition.
It's like
we're having a cop on here who's now, Mr. Lieutenant would be able to say, this is what probable cause actually is.
Yes.
This is why there's idiots out there in the world that are like, yeah, they didn't have probable cause. Well, it's like, no, they did have probable cause. They just didn't execute anything on it.
You would think he would say, I just want to clarify, I don't know specifically what it is that she is saying that a nexus is, but I can tell you in terms of probable cause, which is the only thing I technically know about or should know about, because I'm not a lawyer.
Just an apprentice.
An apprentice lawyer. Learning from.
I'm an apprentice lawyer too.
I am too.
I wanted to make sure everybody knew that. I'm an apprentice lawyer.
I'm only slightly more educated about the law than Jerry Holeman.
I want Trump to fire him. You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired. You're fired.
But it became a really big deal once the defense presented this, and the public caught a hold of this part of the investigation.
I hate that we're talking about it like it was like another leak. Like it wasn't in like a public court
The
filing
public,
that they had every right
public
to
got a
file.
hold of this information.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. Was this a way to get around the gag order? Because you mentioned the gag order was to.
This is the most frustrating thing that I hear everybody talk about all the time, that people don't understand what a gag order is, and the fact that those lawyers from either side writing the things that they wrote in their pleadings is not a violation of a gag order.
So stupid.
To prevent parts of the investigation getting out. And I genuinely don't know.
They have absolutely, there's like no reason why they need to worry about parts of the investigation getting out. They need to say what they need to say to the judge. They need to put what they need to put inside the record.
I'm genuinely asking. And so that's one question I have. And then I'm going to, maybe the reason I'm asking it, and you can answer that, maybe the reason I'm asking it too is because there was talk at the press conference about the defense not adhering to this gag order. So I guess this is a two-part question.
Oh, fuck that.
That's because everyone is incredibly misinformed, ill-informed. They choose to be ignoramuses. That's why they brought it up at the press conference that they violated the gag order.
Is that part of it? Yes or no? And
press conference?
What?
They brought up the defense team and the gag order. I haven't watched the press conference. Though.
Dude, Doug Carter straight up accused them of violating the gag order and causing the death of Robert Fortson because of violating the gag order. Yeah.
All right.
how did the defense negate the gag order if that's true?
They didn't. It's not.
I believe
He's gonna co-sign it anyway, though, because he's also dumb as fuck.
the easy answer would be yes. I think that it was obvious to me from day one that they wanted to try this in the media. They wanted to plant seeds of doubt to potential jurors. And then when the gag order was instated, I think that, again, I don't know exactly why, but it
So then you should probably shut the fuck up.
Just shut up.
appeared to me that in all their motions that they were directing those to the media and social media, hoping that they could get those outrageous conspiracy theories out there that someone might believe.
So you guys investigate for years conspiracy theories? Because literally everything that they were writing about come from the shit that you all turned over. So what were you doing? Just sucking up taxpayer money, just fucking around and investigating conspiracy theories?
And might someday be a potential juror. That's my opinion. It seemed like all their motions, first of all, had a lot.
And also, please don't try to insult my intelligence and tell me this man sat and read every one of their fucking pleadings.
He did not. Yeah, he just listened to us read on YouTube.
Over embellished facts and lies about us.
So this is the moment where you look at this man and you say, can you please be more specific? What did they embellish? And what lies did they tell about you guys?
Yeah, go ahead. Ask him,
And
Lauren. Ask him.
I thought that was wrong. I thought that was a very unethical strategy that they used. And I think that they continue to do that through all the hearings and with all the motions. And I think they continued even when the trial started by still continuing to communicate with some media and social media outlets. It just appeared to me.
What is a social media outlet that they were communicating with?
Holeman is going to say that they were using social media out, like the irony behind this fucking guy saying that the defense was using social media outlets prior to a defense even existing. This guy utilized social media outlets all the time. He was talking to people in Facebook groups and giving them information, and people on YouTube giving them information that was supposed to be held close to the vest so that only the killer would know.
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
I didn't watch the news. I very rarely watch the news, but I purposely did not watch the news during the trial. And I don't watch podcasts. Sorry, YouTubers and content creators will hate me for this, but I don't.
We hate you for many reasons. This is not it. And also, this is a lie.
I don't watch them.
Lie.
I didn't even know they existed until after this case started.
What are you, 500 years old? You didn't know YouTube and podcasters existed? Are you serious? And you were the one investigating these girls as Musically and Snapchat and Kick and all that shit?
shortly after 2017.
Ta-da! Here we are. Yeah.
Here you are. And but I have friends and family members that watch it, and during the trial, they would call and check on me. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm sitting in there watching. You sat in there. I thought everything was going well. It is like a roller coaster ride. You have good days, bad days. The judge rules on things, and you think, okay, good. And some of the jury questions, you're like, okay, they're very in tune. They're asking the right questions. I think we're doing well. But then what the media and some of the social media outlets were reporting was one-sided, and that's what I was getting from family members and friends. Are like, it's not looking good. I said, no.
So he's saying that the news that his family members and friends were consuming was basically saying it was going really fucking bad for the prosecution. And his opinion is now that, not that it was true, but that everybody's biased against the prosecution.
No, we're doing good. The facts and the truth is coming out in the jury.
No. The facts and the truth did not come out, Jerry Holeman.
He's still entirely unsure of what the facts and the truth really are.
He doesn't even know.
He's going to see everything. So
They didn't see everything.
and I can't explain why, but I'm only assuming that they were trying to get their narrative out by pushing some of that.
Who is they?
The defense team.
So he thinks during the trial, the defense team was talking to like all the media and having everybody report the same way in a light most favorable to the defendant. Is that what he's saying?
I'm pretty sure that's kind of like the whole thing is.
I'm pretty sure that if that were true, then the whole situation with Brad Weber appearing from the ashes of nowhere and saying that all of a sudden he was driving down the road at such and such a time and that happens to match Richard Allen's one of his confessions would have gone much differently, because the whole van thing they would have had more than enough evidence from the media people, I'm assuming he's talking about people like us, to prove that that was a lie.
And again, I think that's not right. And I think that
Jameson, a famously smooth whiskey from a famously big family. Meet Jose.
not all, but some media outlets were biased towards the defense, and some social media outlets are biased towards the defense. And
What is a social media outlet? Please, someone tell me.
Yeah, somebody. She doesn't ask these questions. I just don't understand how she's not asking any follow-up questions to the conversations and the things that he's saying. This is not an interview. This is like letting Jerry Holeman just say whatever the fuck he wants, even when he's contradicting himself from earlier in the interview. She doesn't even say, well, earlier, Jerry, you were saying that you thought this. So now you're saying you think this?
Yeah, the
What
defense
did you think about in the
accusations.
last 45 minutes.
He's coming up with the defense accusations, and she's fixing to start with accusations as well.
and there's probably some that are biased towards prosecution. And I think as a reporter, I'm not a journalist, but I think most mainstream media outlets need to stay down the middle and non-biased.
100%.
100%. And I think there's really no
Literally. They're like, we don't do it. We don't subscribe to it, but we 100% think that's what they should do, though.
Yeah.
regulations on the social media and the YouTubers and the content.
Oh, now he wants us all regulated, so we can't say what we want.
How does he know we're not regulated? He doesn't watch us.
Oh, yes.
Content creators, so they can get away with it more. I think some of the mainstream media and those journalists have to stay more focused and more toward.
What do you think he thinks about a 2-part show called The Pig Roast?
I don't think he fucking cares.
All about him.
He's like, oh, look at, I got more attention. People are listening to. People are going to see that I was being an honest guy and I don't lie.
He's like, what is he even like? What is this light?
It's his little ring light he's got for his phone.
Surely not. Oh, you think it's like one of those ones that just attaches to the top
Flip
of
it
the
on there or
phone?
something.
Oh. It would be much more warm, like her side, if it was like one of those old lanterns, like that you turn the thing and it like lets a little bit of oil out or whatever, and then it like lights.
Work on her lighting. She's got lighting behind her and lighting in front of her. He's just got his little cell phone.
It is so stark. The contrasting colors.
towards the middle. And I just think that that strategy that they used was, to me, not right.
No,
That's also how I feel about your
not
strategy.
It's
Yeah.
not right.
Odd. It
I
was
think
odd.
that strategy that you guys used to try to put an innocent man in prison was not right. It was not right. It was not. It was
So
odd.
that's really interesting.
Like what? That's really interesting.
She doesn't have any idea what he fucking said.
She's like,
She has
really
no idea what she was like. Are you going to stop talking anytime, Jerry Holeman? Because I don't even know. I don't even know what the question was I asked you anymore, and now I don't even know what we're talking about.
Yep,
So
that was the equivalent
really
of
interesting.
that was the equivalent of like coming in on the end of a conversation where you've not been paying attention. And you're like, that's crazy.
It's not right. It's not right.
That's so odd.
Odd.
To hear your perspective of that. I want
Of what?
What?
Please tell us.
You don't even know what it was about.
Of that. Thanks you. Thanks you for explaining that to us.
to tell you a couple of things I heard during the
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
trial.
Yeah.
A
please.
national producer said to me that she was talking to Rosie, and Rosie said, YouTubers are a part of our job and they always will be. In other words, working with YouTubers.
No.
Wait, so she's saying that she
Well,
was.
that's a good one.
Okay, hold on, back up. She's saying she was talking to a producer.
She's let me listen again.
The trial. A national producer said to me that she was talking to Rosie, and Rosie said, YouTubers are a part of our job and they always will be. In other words, working with YouTubers. I
think we should stop making comparisons to things that we think are similar because we're very bad at it. So the whole in other words things and then like rephrasing what you think it means is not beneficial or helpful because that's not what that means. What it means is that in 2024, almost 2025, YouTubers, social media is now a part of the legal profession. It's now a part of trials. It's now a part of criminal investigations, ongoing and ending. And the YouTubers, podcasters, casual true crime observers, people in communities who like true crime and want to know what's going on and follow cases and stuff, they exist because it's 2025. So in order to continue as a lawyer in today's day and age, you have to understand that they are a part of your job. Dealing with the media is a part of your job. And they're always going to be a part of your job. How do we go from that to insinuating that we're like working with YouTubers directly to do whatever? Like it feels very
Biased?
No, very what is it called when like you accuse people of doing things that you do? Projection. It feels very much like projection.
Well, I mean, he's not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, so I was like giving like information to, Anya and Kevin, and, while we have other, people on YouTube who are out there forcing this narrative and in putting our lies out to the world for us, Lauren, we're not going to, we don't use YouTubers, but yet he's literally here using her channel to put out a narrative because he is not going to tell the truth, and he's not telling the truth. He's been caught in multiple lies in this hour. We've only been watching it for an hour and 7 minutes.
I think I'm going to make a running list of all national producers that I can come up with who were present there and ask them specifically what they meant by this, what she's talking about, them saying, and what they meant by it.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
saw Auger, the defense attorney, walk up to a YouTuber in court and pass her a sticky note that said something, and then she walked back and smiled at her. I don't know.
Wait, what?
Right?
Do that again?
I saw Auger, the defense attorney, walk up to a YouTuber in court and pass her a sticky note that said something, and then she walked back and smiled at her. I don't know what it said, if it was important or not, but it was an interesting relationship to observe.
What?
You observed their fucking relationship through a Post-it note?
Yeah, but she doesn't know what it said though. Look at Jerry's face. He's like, that's one of my Post-it notes. Now I can remove it. God, she said that. Is she talking about Andrew? I don't care who she's talking about. Maybe she handed something that said, so-and-so is going to let you have their seat. What if it said, your hair looks fucked up today. Please fix it because...
Is she upset that she didn't get a Post-it note?
Maybe.
She's like, Jerry, next time, I think you should give me a Post-it note because I felt like I was left out.
What if it was like, hey, you're a pretty tall lady. And I'm not saying nothing about, because everybody knows I love Andrea and I'm also tall. But what if the note was her just trying to have some couth and be like, hey, you're pretty tall and Shorty behind you can't see anything. So do you care to switch seats? And she was just trying to be polite.
Well, we have no idea. That's kind of the whole point. So like,
Right.
why are...
Well, she's insinuating that OJ was sending a YouTuber something, like maybe what she was going to report back that night or whatever she's trying to insinuate. It's clearly something bad.
It had something to do with the fucking writ that Andrea was filing since she's an attorney.
No, it wasn't Bob because she says specifically that it was a girl.
I'm just pointing out some interesting dynamics.
It's not really that interesting. What's more interesting is you making something uninteresting nefarious.
Though, in what I
observed, now interviewing Lieutenant Jerry Holeman.
Yeah, that's not nefarious. Did he ever?
How the hell how'd you talk to Jerry Holeman?
Yeah, how'd you schedule this?
When did you schedule it? Because isn't this the day after the presser?
This was done on the 27th, 2 days ago.
Okay, so a couple days later then. I'm just saying, like, you obviously you contact people.
Mm-hmm. He's only gone on with her and Murder Sheet.
Oh, maybe it was a note to Allie?
Oh, could have been. Still, my entire point stands. Who gives a flying fuck? Who cares?
Observed as far as certain, you're right, social media, as you explained, or podcasts that maybe don't have as many regulations, sort of working for certain sides.
Seriously,
this is rich.
Lauren?
Do we know where we are right now?
This is so hypocritical. I don't even know how.
Has the defense come on and
You've been listening to these guys talk for too long. The defense has not come on.
I'm developing a stutter. Has the defense come on to YouTube and talked with any of these people that everybody says were such best friends this entire time? Have they come on to like live to answer questions with anybody? I don't think so.
It was interesting to me. It was interesting to me, to say the least.
Everything is interesting to you.
It is interesting.
It's odd.
It's very odd.
Very odd. Just like Richard Allen dressing in sweatpants and a t-shirt when he came to pick up his car.
Yeah,
very
guilty.
odd.
Fucking guilty.
And I would add to this is the main reason I'm talking to you and other podcasters or YouTubers or content creators.
The reason I'm talking to you and the Murder Sheet.
And I don't even know if I know the difference between.
That's all the same. You got them all. You nailed it. Yeah.
But the reason I want the truth out there.
Herself and Murder Sheet the same?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's very harmful to the community for some of that false information to be out there. We get death threats all the time. And that's
very harmful to the community for their law enforcement agents to lie and railroad people into crimes that they very well may not have committed. Yeah.
But also he's acting like he's the arbiter of like all things true and correct. Like he's like, I'm talking to you guys because everything else that everybody is saying is all false information. It's all wrong and it's all false information. And we're getting death threats. We're not sending any though.
That's fine. Threaten me, but not my family. I won't talk.
Who's threatening his family?
Nope.
Something that I really can't stand, and it doesn't just come from this man. I've heard it there are other instances, and I won't even go there, of people who just, when they get put on a platform, they automatically tell people that they've been getting death threats. They've been threatened and they've been getting death threats, and there's never any receipts for it. They never have an example of their lives being threatened or their family members' lives being threatened, but they just say it. Just like Diener, Who the fuck was talking about Diener? Nobody was talking about Diener. He's talking about pictures of his family being on YouTube. Son, nobody was paying attention to you or gave a fuck. We literally just wanted the paperwork. Literally. That's all we wanted.
But if you're a lieutenant with the Indiana State Police, if somebody is threatening you, how do you not know who it is? I mean, like, you're literally the person we call when people are threatening us so that you can figure out who the fuck it is and how to stop it.
I don't know. I don't know how he got. The standards must be just like incredibly low. Because just from hearing him, I've never heard a cop talk like this. The way he, like, I have like the attitude wise, but he's just so ill-informed. It's just the most bizarre thing I've ever, and he's been doing this for like decades. Oh, it's so strange. It's so strange.
Talk about my family. I have a great family. I have a wonderful wife.
Only person talking about your family is you, Jerry. Again.
3 children. I will never say their names. They're all married, and I have 7 grandkids.
You're giving us like a lot of information for somebody that like doesn't want anybody to come after their family. We don't need to know any of this.
Yeah, I didn't know. I have no idea how many kids he has. I have no idea how many grandkids this dude has. I don't know anything about this. Any of
Me
this
either.
Stuff.
But like, you know, he's putting this information out. Like this must be like a warm up into now the next interview he does, he'll say that he accidentally said that. And now he's getting like, you know, now his kids are getting death. Like, I just don't trust anything out of this man's mouth.
Them harassed, and they have been. But more importantly, the victims' families, leave them alone. Stop putting those disgusting photographs that were leaked by whoever, however you want to put it. I'm not.
You mean you don't know? After all that, you don't know who leaked them?
Yeah.
Here to debate that. But what I am here to debate is,
why would you need to debate
loved ones, you would not want.
Didn't he take a plea and do a diversion?
Yeah.
The person who said they leaked them?
Mm-hmm. But he's not here to debate that. He's here to debate something else with someone who doesn't disagree with anything he says, but he's here to debate.
Want those photos out there on the internet for, like Becky Patty said, generational effects. Libby's nieces and nephews, and they're going to have to see that, and we're going to have to explain that someday.
And I agree. So, like, you, sir, should be ashamed.
And that doesn't prove anything. Those photos don't prove anything.
I don't know about that. About the photos not proving anything, because if that were the case, they wouldn't need to be shown at trial either. If they don't prove anything.
Yeah, they're part of your evidence that you're saying that the jury gets to see.
Yeah. In fact, those were like the only things that Nick put on his $75,000, 80-inch TV screen for the entire gallery to see and all the jurors. Everything else got handed to them with paper. So,
and I think that's where the hate needs to stop. There's, they think it's funny when they post my head on Shrek or say bad things about me.
I mean, that's funny. Both those things are funny.
I just think it's kind of it's an interesting thing when it's Shrek. Because there's somebody else who's referred to as Shrek also.
That's why I said, like, who put his head on Shrek's
I saw him on Hulk.
Yeah.
I saw that yesterday, I think, but I've never seen him on Shrek. I still want to
Well, here we go again. Maybe he doesn't know the difference between Shrek and Hulk.
That's probably true.
Yeah. Ah.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I think that he's confused because there's somebody else that's already Shrek.
Very interesting.
Of all this stuff, it's just not true. I have broad shoulders and thick skin.
Obviously,
come after me.
Like Shrek, maybe.
How does he know that if he doesn't do any of the social media stuff? How does he even know that his head was put on Shrek?
Well, we're allowed to just say whatever we want in the moment. Oh shit! What?
What are you doing?
And I think that's where the hate.
We're gonna watch 48.
Needs to stop. There's, they think it's funny when they post my head on Shrek or say bad things about me and accuse me of all this stuff. It's just not true. I have broad shoulders and thick skin. Come after me all you want.
Like, what's not true? We're accusing you of all these things that aren't true. What's not true?
But it's okay for them, ISP, prosecutors, all of that whole side to trash the defense team and create what they're saying is happening to them, to create the hate for Rosie and Baldwin and Ajay. Like,
Because
that's okay?
Yes, because in his opinion, those things are all true. But the stuff that we're saying about him is not true. So it's different.
Well, but leave family members and community members alone. And I think a lot, like I said earlier, Lauren, a lot of people don't want to talk to anybody about this because of the threats that we've gotten through emails.
Or the ones you've given. Like maybe people don't want to talk because of the threats that you've given, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. People getting our cell phone numbers and family members' cell phone numbers. And
I don't know anybody that's come to me and said that they had Jerry Holeman's cell phone number or his family members' phone numbers and like was like,
well,
hey,
there's
you want
YouTubers
this?
that say that they talk to Jerry Holeman pretty consistently.
Yeah, as their friend. So
Right.
I'm sorry, Jerry, if you're handing out your phone number to random ass people, YouTubers and whatnot, then
ironically.
Yeah, then I mean, I don't trust nobody with my phone number. There's people I talk to on a daily basis that don't have my phone. Teresa doesn't have my phone number.
I don't have your phone number.
So maybe stop giving your phone number out.
You know, I just hope that stops sooner than later.
Yeah. I was threatened too. I was threatened. They said, show up at the courthouse. Yeah, show up at the courthouse. You know, my husband.
Who said that?
Who said that?
Who said that? If you're going to make the accusation, I think you should name names.
The home.
He doesn't
seeing the emails coming in going.
Kyle Fulton at all. He has no remorse, no accountability for that at all.
So look, she just said that she got threats. Look at his face. She said she got threats saying, go to the courthouse, that she was there and her husband was at home and checking the emails and seeing these threats come through via email. And look at this man's face.
Why is he smiling about that?
Right?
What is going on? Are you okay? And like, you know, being very, very worried. You said that you don't know.
I also just, you know, I don't know if that's true.
Did anybody ever say anything to her at the courthouse? Was she ever threatened at the courthouse? I mean, I know another YouTuber who was actually assaulted at the courthouse. But she had all these threats, but did anything happen to her?
Did anybody follow her coverage? Like, did she say anything about these threats prior to right this moment? Like throughout, like when she would do like lives in between, like on lunch and stuff, did she say anything about it?
I watched her lunch lives. I watched every lunch live she did during trial, but I never watched her nighttime lives.
I didn't watch either, so I'm just relying on you guys. She
never mentioned it during the lunch lives.
Never once. I believe Salty would have watched all of them, so.
Yeah.
You don't want to blame anyone, but I am going to point something out that in the victim impact statements by both Mike Patty and Becky Patty, they blamed the defense and they were upset that Richard Allen's counsel were so careless with the photos in their offices that somebody got a hold of them, took the photos of these crime scene photos and put them on the internet.
Now,
how does that have anything to do with the fucking sentencing of Richard Allen?
And also this, if we're going to talk right now about the victims' families' impact statements, why are we choosing to not talk about how the crime itself impacted them? We're talking about something that happened years and years later by someone that didn't kill them. We're talking about lawyers and what they did to the families rather than the impact that the deaths of the girls had on them. You see what I mean?
Yep.
It just seems like, you know, whatever the family said in their victim impact statements is one thing, but when you're now reporting on it and you want to talk about it, are you going to tell me anything else they said about how the crime itself impacted their family? Or just the defense? We're just going to bring up this because it's like literally the oldest. Like I'm tired of hearing the story over and over again.
We need to stop the hate. We need to stop the hate. But yet, if we're going to do it, we're okay with it.
Yeah, against them.
Attacking us, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And they brought up Rosie sharing something in an October 2023 hearing about what he said about these photos being released. And I'm bringing this up because I've never seen actually a victim impact statement where they didn't just talk to how they've been hurt by the suspect, by the criminal, by the person convicted, but by the counsel. And they brought up something that Rosie said. And when I read their victim impact statements online, and you can see those victim impact statements or listen to them. I read them verbatim on our channel, and we'll have a link to that in the description of this video. So, because I think the victims' voices are so important in this case. And so that's why I'm bringing this up too. This is what Rosie said. Rosie said, now we can, let me see. So this is what he said. He said, look, I saw the pictures I know where those came from. And if you know, the point here is, I'm going to say this maybe a little loosely, but forgive me. I don't care. I don't care that all of this stuff is out there because it's been out there for 5 or 6 years. I don't have the time. He doesn't have the time, meaning Andrew Baldwin. He doesn't have the time to sit and try to marshal all of this stuff while this case is ongoing because there's no end to it. But at this point, the point is the court needs to have some context that this is nothing new.
Okay. And? Meaning, can we move on with this murder trial instead of dragging out this murder trial to talk about pictures that have already been floating around and is something we can handle after the trial? But no, we have to do it now. We have to do it right now. And they need to be removed right now. Everything needs to happen right now when Nick stomps his feet and says it has to happen right now because it's good for his case. It's just so bizarre to me. It's so fucking irrelevant. And if I was going to report on the victim impact statements, like I would not be now reading parts of a transcript of something that happened over a year ago.
I'm confused on the comment about this has been out for 5 or 6 years. What has been out for 5 or 6 years?
He's talking about the photos, like photos that were taken from volunteers. And actually, Jerry co-signs that sentiment. Like he basically says, you know, they weren't police crime scene photos, but there were photos that were released that were like from, you know, volunteers or people that like discovered the scene and stuff. It's like, okay, so like, what is the difference between a photo of the scene taken by somebody who was searching on their cell phones? Like, is it okay that those people put it out, but it's not okay that the ones that you guys took made their way out? Like, I'm just not understanding. Like, it's either bad or it's not. Like, obviously it's bad, right? I mean, you would think you wouldn't want somebody to do that. The whole point of if you walk up on a crime scene and you're taking pictures, that's like for the sake of this is how everything was when I found it. I didn't touch anything. Everything is still as it was when I walked upon it. You know what I mean? Not, oh, I'm going to take this and I'm going to show everybody kind of thing. But my whole thing is if we're still not if we're not willing still to be honest about the whole leak thing, then maybe we should just stop fucking talking about it. Instead of blaming the wrong people, if we're not going to be honest about what all happened, then maybe we should just stop talking about it entirely. Why are we drawing more attention to the fact that there are crime scene photos out there? So people start asking for them, seeking them out. I don't know. And also, are we not going to bring up the fact that in the same breath, so she's going to read this little portion, but is she going to read the part where Rosie said that there were a couple of those pictures he had never even fucking seen before?
We're going to ignore it. We're only going to read the part that matters in our narrative.
I also, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't like read the whole things. It's been like a bit, but surely the families did not read all of this word for word. Like she's reading this word for word from like a transcript from the hearing, right? They didn't sit there and regurgitate.
I don't know. I pulled a couple of the statements that I found online. I think
I don't remember seeing all of this.
I haven't read them yet, though. I figured I'd just read them. I'll read them live.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing this much quoted. And I saw Becky's. I saw Mike's.
Those are the only two I think I
Kelsey,
found.
Yeah, Lank, his is out there too. Kelsey was not at sentencing and she did not read a victim impact statement, and one for her was not read as far as I was told. But somehow she sent it to Gray and Gray read it for her. I don't know why she wasn't there. So it might be in that one. I don't know.
If she wasn't at the sentencing, who read it at the sentencing?
Nobody. It was just sent to Gray.
She doesn't have a victim impact statement to read because she doesn't have one. She wasn't there.
Well, he read it. He read her victim impact statement. Like she sent him.
That doesn't even make sense.
I mean, here's the thing. The victim impact statement is meant to be read in front of the judge to the judge.
Right.
For the judge to understand exactly. Not for the world. It's for the judge.
So that's not a victim impact statement. That's just Kelsey's statement after sentencing.
Yeah. Yeah. Judge Jessica just keeps saying odd, like all throughout the chat. It is.
Anna did not give one. Did anybody in Abby's family give one?
I think her grandparents. I think Abby's grandparents. I think both of them.
All right, I'll have to look into that.
Oh, we only have
her bio grandpa or her
Erskine.
grandpa?
Yeah, Diane Erskine. She was one.
That's grandma.
So then maybe it was Erskine, the man Erskine, too.
Diane Was Beautiful. Is that one out? I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, on YouTube.
But it's not, Jen, the only thing I'm saying is it's not a victim's impact statement if it's not read in court. It's just the statement.
Right.
Because a victim impact statement is for the judge to decide and to use for whatever sentence that she's going to do. True Grit Crime, would you mind sending me Diane's? Josh Lank Jr. gave one?
Yes. And that one is out also.
What?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess they can't. He's a cousin, I guess.
All right.
That's what the victim impact statements were referring to when they said that somebody on the defense team didn't seem to care. And they asked if he would care if it was his children's photos. And while you point out you're not putting blame, it wasn't Rosie that took the photos, but it was the photos that the defense had possession of, that somebody took a photo of, that they were carelessly strewn. And so I just want to point that out because
he
the
did
victims,
not say that. Jerry Holeman specifically said he was not going to debate who did it. He was not going to come on here and debate who did it or how they got out. He did not say anything about somebody going in there and taking the photos and leaking them. He did not say that.
Well, you have to remember this has been edited. So like he could have, and it just didn't make the final cut. But also, they also weren't just like carelessly strewn about. They were literally, again, a couple of them the defense team had never even seen before, number one. And number two, they were literally exhibits for depositions that conveniently were happening right when Jerry Holeman was going in for a deposition. They were exhibits for the depositions. Jerry was going in there. Liggett was going in there. All of law enforcement was going in there when they were stolen. So if I were Jerry, I also wouldn't want to debate this. You know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't either.
But she's pushing, so I can't even remember if he goes on. There's still some more really gross things that were said. So
stated that in their impact statements, and they wanted to share that, and they're hurt for
he touched his face. You know what that means.
Generations and generations to come. And Judge Gould said herself that she hadn't considered the generational impact and that she was going to take that into consideration. I don't know if you have anything to say to that. It wasn't really a question, but I think I just wanted to share that here. It's something I hadn't read Rosie's statement, what he said, and I don't know if you have anything to say to that.
Well, I would say that it was, we had those photos from day one pretty much, and none of those photos were released until after discovery. Now, they accused us of leaking crime scene photos, but they were confused. There were some photos taken by citizens of the clothes in the creek that were released, but those were not from law enforcement. They were not crime scene photos. Once the crime scene was secured and photos were taken, none of those were released to the public. Now, was there some information being leaked in second, third hand? Absolutely, but not.
So he just admitted that information was being leaked second and third hand about the crime scene and whatnot. So again, we're diminishing and minimizing the number of things that could have been said that only the killer would know, since we were leaking
crime scene photos. And I think they should be held responsible for that. I do think that they should be responsible for securing those photos, and how all that happened is just, in my opinion, it was done intentionally. And I'll just leave it.
So your opinion, it was done intentionally, but you can't prove that, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Do that.
And why do you think it was done intentionally?
And she's still probing.
Why are we asking him that?
Like exactly. And also, like, if I was talking, like, I just would not be talking about, like, there are so many other things to be talking about that would pertain to the actual investigation and the trial. Like, this is just,
I don't want to talk about that stuff.
This is just a side. I don't know why we're pushing this,
because
other than
this is what she knows about. She doesn't know the other stuff to ask. This is
Right,
my problem with this fucking
True.
interview.
This is true.
It's like, let me act like I know what I'm talking about, because let me say the things that I do know something about, and it's this crime scene thing. and
True.
or the crime scene photos. So I'm going to go with the narrative that I've been told is crime scene photos.
Right.
Very odd.
Well, yeah. And also, anybody that doesn't know, I feel like a lot of people in here do know me, my opinion on things like this. But like, when you get close to members of the families, really on either side, it really, whether you realize it or not, it begins to sway your opinion and your perception of different things that happen. And that could have a little bit, you know, that could be a little bit of what's going on here too, is like, you know, it's important to me. I don't mean me, but like, it's important for me to let all of my viewers know when I finally get this chance to talk to Jerry, how this particular thing impacted people that I'm close with now. The crime scene photos, you know, impacted them. And like you said, I think it's a default because you can't talk about the case itself because you're not like educated about all of it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Don't know what else to ask about. So
Again, same thing. I think that some of the photos were not just of the girls, but they were of things that they thought would indicate that it was a ritualistic killing, or you know, one was the infamous blood spatter on the tree that they were trying to say was painted on there or purposely put on there, and it just wasn't. And they were trying to get opinions from the public to say that they thought that was what they were trying to portray it to be, which it wasn't. And I do believe that that's again, they were trying to taint the jury pool.
you know, his explanation of this really makes me like even more suspicious that this was their line of thinking, was if we release like the F tree photo, and the pictures of the sticks and stuff right after the Franks memo comes out, then we could make an argument that it was them wanting to see how well their theory was going over. Do you know what I mean? Even though like everybody who knows anything about anything when it comes to like a trial and things that are prejudicial, no defense attorney that I've ever come in contact with would ever want crime scene photos of two little girls violently murdered out into the public, because it's unspeakably prejudicial to their client. I don't know any world where they would have done that on purpose. Damn it, Teresa left.
Mike Patty brought up in his victim impact statement that he didn't believe that the justice system consisted of lies being spread, that the forefathers who created our justice system would be shocked and appalled that this was the American way.
What lies? Like, I feel like that should be clarified. I feel like maybe she could have asked him if they're friends, like specifically, what lies are you referring to? What Mike, what lies specifically were you referring to in your victim impact statement? Because when I report on it later, I want to talk about it.
I'm paraphrasing what he said. I have his exact verbatim, again, victim impact statement. I don't want to.
Well, I mean, if you have it, why don't you just fucking read it verbatim?
I froze. Sorry.
That's okay. She basically just said that Mike Patty in his victim impact statement was saying that he didn't think like the forefathers. Let me just roll in. It was only like a second.
Mike Patty brought up in his victim impact statement that he didn't believe that the justice system consisted of lies being spread, that the forefathers who created our justice system would be shocked and appalled that this was the American way. I'm paraphrasing what he said. I have his exact verbatim, again, victim impact statement. I don't want to. You can hear it verbatim on, again, in the description of this video here.
Where are we hearing it? Her read it, but we can't read the clip here, the snippet here. But
we have to go watch her other videos.
Oh, I get it. I totally get it now. Okay.
But that's what, as I recall, he implied. What lies? Was this one of the lies? What were the lies that you think?
Why are you asking Jerry Holeman that and not the man that actually said it? He is not a mind reader. He can't even read his own mind.
Mike Patty was referring to.
Jerry, you're so good at telling us what Richard Allen thinks. Please tell us what Mike Patty was thinking.
I would probably refer to the Franks memo.
Or I would say that's none of my fucking business, and I will not speak for the father of the victim or the grandfather of the victim. You should ask him. But no, he'll say, oh, I think he was referring to the Franks memo.
Most of the information in there was either over embellished or lies about.
Well, then everything you all turned over in Discovery was over embellished or lies. He looks frightened. He should be.
Investigators, and I think that's what he was talking about. In my opinion, I don't know for sure. I think.
Well, then you should keep your fucking mouth closed.
No, he
Why
can't
would
do
you
that. He needs to. He wants to have an answer.
I would have literally, before she even finished the sentence, I would have been like, there's absolutely no way that I'm going to sit here and try to explain to you what Mike Patty had in his brain when he was saying that. And I think that that's something you should personally ask him. I do not feel comfortable, and I do not feel that it is my place to answer this question.
That would be a fair assessment. But yeah, I agree with him. I don't think the defense attorney's job is to lie about certain things about an investigation or make them up.
That's
You're right, it's not.
Job. It's not the defense attorney's job. It's the investigator's job to lie.
No, he didn't call them lies. He would not call them lies. What did he say? Deceptive tactics. It's different.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. The synonyms.
Over embellish
Yes, and synonyms.
the facts. I think their job is to make sure that their client gets a fair and impartial hearing or trial. And I think they went above and beyond that and really attacked.
No, they really did, sir. They really did go above and beyond. They tried their best, but you cocksuckers, just jumped in the way every opportunity that you could. What?
What?
I hope that's not true.
No,
I heard that.
I hope not.
I had not heard that. I hope
He's
that's
giving
not
them out
true.
for free already.
Yeah, I would hate to know that. Unless it was like I still wouldn't take $10,000. Like, I'm basically just saying that because I want you to fuck off, because I have nothing more to say at this point. He was convicted and I'm done. You know what I mean? I thought what I found most interesting about it was not this, whatever this is that they're talking about, where he's guessing what Mike Patty was thinking. What I found most interesting, and I think I said it to you yesterday, was the fact that at the end of his statement, he asked for Richard Allen to put a stop to any future appeals. That was what I found interesting.
But see, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me, because the majority of cases that go to the appellate court are turned away from the appellate court. They're not all just taken in.
Right.
Like, you can't just file the appeal and go, okay, now I get a new trial. Hey, yay. Like, the appellate court has to actually look through everything and then decide if they're going to actually have the hearings and things that they need to have. So why would almost, if you don't think anything is an issue, why would you give a shit?
I think somebody
do whatever the hell he wants to. Why wouldn't you just say, go do whatever you think you're gonna do, because they got you, buddy. They got you, and they did it the right way, and it's not gonna matter.
Exactly. I instead think that because I felt the same amount of desperation in the press conference after. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out if Nick, when he was explaining things to them, kind of was I could see Mike Patty going to him and saying, A, B, and C, is that going to be a fucking problem for us in an appeal? And Nick being like, yeah, it might be. It's if we could avoid it, that'd be great. You know what I mean? I'll tell you exactly what he addressed. He addressed Judge Goal, and it was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences. Then he addressed the prosecution, and it was 3 sentences. The investigation team. Do you want me to just read it real quick?
Yeah.
So you don't have to go listen to her say it? Okay,
Yeah,
so we'll just say Mike's, and then we'll play more. So it says, Honorable Judge Fran Gall, we appreciate your firm, fair guidance and direction, your ability to thwart off all the unnecessary noise and acts that were deployed during this process. Thank you for standing firm and staying focused on what needed to be done. I request you provide the maximum sentence allowed by our justice system, and whatever that sentence is, would also have no possibility of parole. There is no parole available for our girls. For this, I will never forget. And then it says, Shuri did what, read, not present, I guess for whatever reason, they just included that. Anyway. Oh, for the jury, man, they really don't proofread. I'm not talking about Mike. I'm talking about Wish TV. We appreciate your time spent here and being away from your families. That was meant to be for the jury, but they were not there. Also to the jury, but they were not there. You had to see and hear things in our society would not be so, but unfortunately, due to the acts of the convict, this what needed to be done. Being able to absorb and look at things objectively through an unfiltered lens and delivering the verdict. Thank you for this. I will not forget. Again, the jury wasn't there, so none of that was said. Prosecution, we appreciate your willingness to stay on task, putting in numerous hours, putting this case above many of your personal needs. The result speaks for itself, but wanted to share our deepest gratitude. For this, I will never forget. To the investigation team, we appreciate your determination and grit to stay on this for so many years. I have observed from the outside while you investigated so many tips that many have no idea about, all to deliver proof and get to the bottom of this case. Never once did I hear we are out of options. There was always a full court press to bring justice in this case. For this, I will never forget. To family, I am so blessed to have such a loving and welcoming family. Only wish I could have prevented any of this from happening and wish I could have protected everyone from having to go through this. Our family is strong and we will march forward and continue to grow. For this, I am grateful. To the defense, I understand the role you need to play, but I cannot connect the ways of our legal system to allow so many things to interfere with the truth and facts to simply be brought before a jury. I cannot imagine our forefathers ever envisioned the attempts to suppress and divert the facts would ever be part of our justice system. One should reflect and review their position to support truth, justice, and the American way. Your inept ability to protect some of the most personal facts in this case, the crime scene photos, and making statements that you really didn't care they were out there, my family will forever have to explain how those are available for people to search. What do I say to my kids, grandchildren, great-grandchildren? What will you tell your grandkids? I hope you tell them the truth. I surely will. For this, I will never forget. And then to the convict, I will never understand how you could have conducted such an atrocity. You killed my granddaughter nearly 8 years ago and have only thought of yourself. Your attempts of self-preservation are a result of how you really are. Once you committed this crime, you could have been a man, stood up and taken accountability, but you didn't. At any time during these proceedings, you could have stood up and taken responsibility, but you didn't, and were only concerned about yourself and tried to get away with murder. Actions always speak louder than words. By being so selfish, you continued to punish and hurt my family. For this, I will never forget. Your act of murder has tested my faith. I am still not ready to provide forgiveness. When I am able to, it will be for my own faith and conscience, not yours. For this, I will never forget. I've never felt such hatred and should not be this way towards another human being. What you have done has impacted so many people's lives. We will heal with the help of our pastor. I'm lucky to have a great family and will enjoy the rest of my life helping and watching all of them grow from our kids to our great-grandchildren. This is something you will not get to take away, and you will never get to experience such joy and love as what my family has. Lastly, hope the rest of your days are spent in as much fear as the girls had to experience the last part of their lives, and hope that moment haunts you the rest of your days. You deserve no better. Now is the time to stand up and take accountability, put a stop to any future attempts to appeal so we can let Libby rest in peace. That's it.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. You want to swallow that while I hit play on this?
Also, I mean, it's tough because I've watched a lot of trials. I've watched a lot of trials. I've watched a lot of victim impact statements. I've read a lot of victim impact statements. I've also read victim impact statements when the person later on is found to be not the person. And it's a very hard thing for the families to swallow because they are accepting that this is the guy who did this to their family. I don't know about the put a stop to the future appeals. It doesn't. I don't know why that.
I don't know. I need to ask my lawyer friends because I don't know that I've ever heard that. Like, I don't know that I've ever heard a family, and of course, I've not listened to like every victim impact statement
Right.
ever, but I just don't know. I can't come up with another example of when I've heard anybody say that or even care about an appeal. You know what I mean? Until it's actually a problem, like unless it goes through. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That was tough.
I think the
Lauren's
people
already
that are
writing her
writing.
book with Dr. John.
Yeah,
I
I was
won't-
just getting ready to say, isn't it funny the two
won't be buying
people
it.
he went on are like writing books? I mean, we know Murder She. Don't we know that they wrote a book?
Yeah, they already they have pre-sales out, pre whatever.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I won't
I
buy
don't
their book either.
oh my God.
I won't buy their book. I would buy like 20 more of Chris Todd's books before I ever bought.
Oh no.
I would.
Oh, I hope that offends them so much.
I absolutely would. At
That
least
is
his was a
hilarious.
good story to read.
Oh my God.
Theirs is going to be full of bullshit. And how in the world is she going to write anything? She doesn't know the fucking case. So it's going to be like watching. I might as well just read Susan Hendricks' book again.
Oh my God, you read that? I didn't read that either.
I did. I read Susan Hendricks' book.
I didn't even read Barb's stuff. Like I don't read any of this stuff.
I read the Down the Hill by Susan Hendricks, the Delphi Murders by True Crime Garage, and I read. I feel like I read Chris Todd's book. Maybe that's all I read maybe I only read those 3.
That's enough.
So Susan Hendricks' book was actually better written, but and I talked about this on one of my lives right after I'd read it, but it was so geared towards the family. It was like essentially she wrote a book for the family, and I just wish that she would have just almost just said that versus like I'm writing a book about the case, because it was a book about the family and how they were essentially dealing with the loss of their granddaughter. That's how I felt about the book.
We're gonna write a community book.
I just don't. I mean, these are two people who have nothing to say that anybody should want to hear. She doesn't know the case. I don't know how else to say it. She doesn't know the case. And Murder Sheet. I mean, shit. They put out a podcast, every other day on the Delphi case, and they're biased.
What more do they have to say?
I mean, are they going to write a book on Keegan Kline?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I mean, that was their whole shtick. Their whole reason their podcast was
I'll be right back.
anything. Her LNC appearance, her Law and Crime appearance, respectively. Of course, she's in. Yeah, Susan just became a person that wants to defend the family and doesn't want to look at the case or the facts of the case. That's her prerogative, but I can't listen to anything she has to say about it anymore. Yeah, she has great sympathy for Patrick Westphal. I what? But that's like Jerry Holeman, who would not condemn Keegan Kline on here. He was like, yeah, he was a bad guy, but put him away. But like that, he's not a monster. And he's like not all of these things. Who somebody put it in here? Hold on, let me see. I will go get the link to her book. It's due to come out August 25th. Whose book? Whose book's coming out August 25th? So I don't know. Most of you guys don't know me from the Watts era, so it's probably a good thing actually. But for some reason, I can find PDFs to books fairly easy. So you also don't need to spend money on books unless you want to.
All right, I'm back.
How funny would it be?
I didn't realize how bad.
And made she do the rest of the live. She's done that on my lives many of times.
What?
Irish goodbye to me.
Oh no, I actually was like repositioning I didn't realize I had to, like, I knew I had to pee, but like not that bad. But then like as soon as I repositioned myself, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna pee myself.
I gotta go right now. I gotta go right now.
All right.
So HTC interviewed Susan. I did not watch that. I won't watch Susan's interviews anymore.
Thank you.
I think that she probably, her heart is in the right place where she thinks, like she's really doing something for the family. I just don't, I have no respect for that perspective at all.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But also at the same time, it's like, I just don't watch shit that I don't care like what they're gonna say. Like
She
I
doesn't have
can't think
anything.
of anything I would care what they're gonna say.
She has nothing. Yeah, she has nothing to say that I want to hear.
Something that's interesting though to me is, since we're like in this discussion about who actually has come out to speak after the gag order's been lifted and all, and like the conviction has happened, like I'm curious why we're not hearing. We heard more from like third party suspects prior to the conviction than after. You'd think they'd feel safer to come out and say stuff now.
Or like a Brad Holder.
Yeah, like a Brad Holder.
Barbara
Yeah.
McDonald done anything yet? Like I'm really curious. I want somebody to talk to Barbara McDonald because she was given a lot of info that she did not put out. And then once the gag order was, she was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that right now." But she has a lot of info.
I'm gonna ask her. I was talking about that in one of your chats earlier. Like, I'm gonna ask if she would do, like, she didn't even have to do it with me, just if she would do it, period. Where she just goes and tells like all the things that she had gathered. I mean, I would be super interested in watching that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from her. Let me think of who else I'd like to hear from.
I would definitely like to hear from Brad Holder. I think that would be super interesting. Jurors.
Yeah, I'm still pretty surprised about the jurors not coming out yet. But somebody's going to write a book. One of them, well, at least one of the jurors will write a book. There's no doubt.
You think? Yeah, I don't know. They probably don't trust any of these motherfuckers to keep their identity. For me, so like they had Jerry Holeman and Mullen, but like Jerry Holman's ISP, right? So like his jurisdiction is the state of Indiana, okay? And he sat there the entire time with this goofy look on his face, looking at the jurors in their faces. Doug Carter popped in with his wife and like was staring at all the jurors. Like I guess me personally, like I know these people are pieces of shit. And so like I would also not want to come forward and say anything against like anything that they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure that somebody probably told him to, like, oh, the bloodlust.
Even the judge who's like not supposed to be afraid of anybody, like as soon as this case became like a case in the criminal justice system, he left. He ran away. I don't know. No, his actual wife.
I really want to hear from the jurors.
Me too. I wonder if any of these people are seeking them out to ask if they want to comment or, I don't know. I'm going to hit play.
The character of everybody involved, including.
Sir, what do you know of character? Besides Shrek.
The family.
You sat close to Richard Allen during the trial, and I've explained this to people. I'll explain it again. Richard Allen, so the gallery was in the back. Richard Allen was in front of us, and he was looking directly at Judge Gold. So when Richard Allen turned to an angle, those in the gallery could see his eyes. If he was looking directly at Judge Gold, we couldn't. So.
Oh, and I'm just gonna let you know here in a minute. I'm gonna like explode and go off on a huge rant. So just bear with me and maybe turn your earbuds down a little bit.
We couldn't see everything. Judge Gold made mention of his eye rolling in court, and that surprised a lot of us. I didn't see that, although somebody to the side in the gallery did say they saw it once. What did you notice about Richard Allen during this trial that we might have missed?
He had some odd behavior, the rolling of the eyes, some other reactions, with his hands during some certain parts of the trial. I observed him writing something on a sticky note, showing it to one of the attorneys, and then grabbing it and eating it a couple times. Thought that was very odd.
Okay, so while we're here, Are we not going to consider the fact that he's still fucking mentally ill from all the trauma that he was put through in the prison when you all were torturing the fuck out of him? That he's not still fucked up and that, like, maybe that's why he can't talk himself. Nobody's heard Richard Allen speak, really. We don't know if he can articulate like a thought all the way together. The fact that he's sitting here talking about how odd it is that, yeah, of course, somebody writing notes on sticky paper, post-it notes and swallowing it is fucking odd. It's like kind of odd enough to where it's like somebody maybe not in their right mind. Maybe it has something to do with what all we've been doing. Also, is he still getting involuntary medication? I would love to know. And was anybody going to stop him from eating fucking paper? Or did we just think, that's odd?
How did he see him roll his eyes?
He didn't, but he's going with what mommy said. She's the only fucking person that saw it. And then this one, Lauren's like, oh, except somebody that was like sitting to the left of me saw it. Okay, who was that? Because I haven't heard anybody say they saw it.
How would anybody see that?
Nobody saw it.
There's nobody in.
Didn't happen.
Holman's not unless Holeman saw him while he was on the stand roll his eyes. It doesn't make sense that anybody in that gallery would have seen Richard Allen roll his eyes unless he looks at his attorneys and rolls his eyes. Because if he's looking straight ahead, they can't see him.
This is all part of not having cameras. They can just say whatever the fuck they want to, and nobody knows for sure if it didn't happen. So she can make a comment and it go out as a clip in the news that she's talking about how horrible the crime was and that he sat there and rolled his eyes like he did throughout the trial. And nobody has anything to disprove that because we couldn't see anything. We couldn't see him at all. They literally hid him from us. But I'm sorry, you're sitting here talking about how odd it is that like he was doing weird things with his hands and looking around and you know, crumbling up paper and eating it. It's nice that you think it's like funny for people to be like mentally fucking ill, like at the hand of you people. Because like I won't go like all the way there, but like I'm on to these motherfuckers. Like people are on to these motmotherfuckers, and that includes him. That includes Walla. As much as I dislike Walla, like my hatred for her and disgust like grows every day. And Nick also. So people are on to you motherfuckers. I'm really glad that right now this is funny. And isn't her husband like some kind of like psychologist or something? So like to even have a like you would think this one would pop in with like, you know, wow, like that seems like does he still have like after effects? Like is he we never really heard how he was doing after he was like covering himself in feces and like ramming his face into cinder block walls. Like, has he improved?
Yeah. So anybody who does watch her, has her husband come on and talked about what they learned from the trial of what was actually happening with Richard Allen? Because I know that they did the video before where they were just going like over the case and they pulled up that stupid ass article where it talks about like Richard Allen, the cops go into his house and everything else. I don't remember it. I can't even quote it verbatim anymore, but
which was like also a mental health crisis. Like what the fuck is wrong with these people?
But that's when he became like, yeah, he's like sadistic and whatever.
How do we know he was rolling his eyes versus his eyes were rolling in his head because of medication that they have him on? Like maybe his eyes were rolling because of medication. Also, let's not forget spending 23 and a half hours a day with no sun, no people around, no any kind of stimulation like to your mind and your senses.
Maybe he just rolled his fucking eyes because he knew these people were fucking lying.
That could be true too. That could absolutely be
like,
true.
oh my God, this is not what fucking happened. Or they're just making up the stuff about like the it's all over. He said it's all over, so we knew he was guilty.
Yeah.
I
rolled my eyes a bunch.
That's not what I fucking meant, you idiot.
I just think that this is just like, I don't know why we went here.
This is what she knows.
Holy shit. I can't tell if that's just the wind or if it's like starting to rain out there.
Ooh.
My mom's basement has like a whole wall that's like just window. Like I think they're doors. Yeah, they're doors, but they're like from wall is floor to ceiling window or door or whatever they are, sliding doors maybe, but they're fucking huge. Like huge. Like if I were to break one right now, I don't know that she could ever she could find a replacement. Like enormous.
They come and make the glass for you.
They would have to. I mean, they're probably.
So you have a storm coming?
All by
storm coming?
Yeah. I think it sounds like rain. Oh yeah, it's totally raining. Okay. All right. I didn't mean to be distracting, but I don't really know what her house does when it's storming and shit. So we didn't need to go here, and I just find it appalling that we're not considering the fact that like he's very much likely, like I've always said, like even if his like feelings wise is, well, no, that won't even cover it anyway. Like my concern at this point would be like a TBI from banging your head against the wall over and over again. It's just gross to me. We're just gonna pretend like he was faking it the whole time. Why do I need to get premium? What?
You don't have ads then.
Wait, what?
Premium YouTube, I assume.
I shouldn't have ads. Like when you're watching my shit, I shouldn't have any ads.
No. When you're playing like this, you have ads.
Oh, yeah, for other people, because they turn on ads. Yeah. Honestly, as much as I would like to rip on her for that too, like I've definitely been in other videos and lives and listen to other people where the fucking ads are nonstop. Like I'll leave.
Dude, I don't know what happened before I, November when I was doing the lives. Because I don't think I've done anything in December. It's so bad. It's almost over, and I haven't done anything. But there was a couple of my videos that like YouTube put an ad on like every like 15 seconds, because like I just click like where it says like you just turn it on and it like does the ads for you. And somebody was like, I can't watch your video from yesterday because there's an ad like every 15 seconds. And so I had to like go research like how to go in there and fix that. And they like YouTube literally put like an ad every like 15 seconds. And I had to like go delete them.
It definitely happened like out of nowhere. And I'm not going to, I mean, if it included like other things as a creator, I would upgrade to premium. But like as just a watcher, like I'm not gonna like, how about you fucking turn the ads off? You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm not going to pay money to get the ads to stop. Paying money.
Just turn the fucking ads off so I can watch your shit.
Like, if you want me to watch it, turn the ads off. Because I literally can't, like, especially at nighttime when I'm YouTubing to sleep. And, like, it's somebody's nice convo. Obviously not mine or yours. Because we're not like, the voices that you listen to like, lull you to sleep. But, like, there are some others who like I'll listen to like as I'm going to sleep, and then like the fucking loud ads will cut in and scare the shit out of me, and it's like, you know what? Now I'm going to turn you off.
Yeah, I have premium. I don't like ads. Somebody asked, like, said they just joined. So like, where are we at? We're basically at the end of watching Jerry Holeman's interview with Hidden True Crime, and just commenting on it. And we kind of got sidetracked for a hot minute, but Sleuthy will get us back on track.
Yeah, I think I like had to pee, and then we've been lost at that. No. So they made these dumbass comments about him eating paper and shit, and I just went on like a rant about how it's not fucking funny. So we'll continue because we only have like 6 minutes left, and if they start like wrapping it up, like we're just gonna shut it off. I don't know if it, like, I'm not gonna thank you, oh my god, thank you, we appreciate you so much. I'm not gonna sit here and listen to all that.
Interesting. This is so interesting.
I'm so happy to hear you say that. Wow. That's crazy.
Just trying to focus.
Those are all things that you say when you're paying zero attention to what the person's saying.
More on the jury and the witnesses.
Oh, you were like staring at the jury, huh? And the witnesses? Cool.
We had very little reaction. He did speak to me a couple times. I gave him a bottle of water early on.
So Richard Allen spoke to him a couple times, and he gave Richard Allen a bottle of water?
At the trial?
That's what he's saying. Uh-huh. That's what he just said.
They didn't have water yet, so I gave him one of my bottles of water that was on the...
So you maybe drugged him. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't put it past you at all. So I would never take a water from you.
I would never take
it
a
would be
drink from Jerry Holeman.
It would literally be the equivalent of like taking candy from a strange looking man in a white van going down the private drive, asking me if I want some candy. You are equally suspicious, and I would take nothing from you, even if I was so parched I thought I was going to die. I'd rather drink a can of paint for hydration than anything you would hand me ever.
On the table and maybe a couple breath mints. And, you know, he is a human being, and I'm going to treat human beings like human beings should be treated. I think that
What did you just say?
It would have been really great if he like would have also treated like Robert Fortson like he was also a human being. That would have been cool. So now he's basically saying, see, I'm no threat to Richard Allen.
Look, I gave him a water and some breath mints.
He literally already told us that what everyone, literally everyone, reported as him spending hours cussing and screaming, like veins popping out of his face and neck at Richard Allen. He tried to tell us that that was really only like 30 to 40 seconds. He cussed at him and like maybe got loud for only 30 to 40 seconds.
Because Richard Allen cussed first.
Yes. And so, and now he's telling us, you know, I'm not a threat to Richard Allen. Like I gave him breath mints and like maybe drugged water. So yeah.
Take responsibility and for his actions and be punished for those actions, but he's still human. He dropped his glasses. I picked him up. I mean, very little.
What? Where are all these stories coming from? How did no one report on? Nobody saw you pick up his glasses and give them to him?
Interaction with him, but his behavior was what I would think. He was trying to stay emotionless, but at times I could see some emotion from him.
I was shocked that he said that, admitted that at times he saw emotion from him. A lot of others are like trying to pretend he had no emotion whatsoever. It would be great if people would remember that like he was likely advised not to show much emotion from like his lawyers, because if he was emotional, everybody would have said that he was feeling guilty for what he did, right? And if he showed no emotion, they would have said that he's a cold, heartless son of a bitch and he had no remorse for what he did. So like either way, does it really matter?
No.
I didn't think so.
What about one thing I noticed, and again I was behind, you know, so I couldn't see
By like, oh, you mean behind in seating? I thought we were talking about like 7 years or something, you know.
Yeah, I'm very curious about this, but when they were showing some of the most heartbreaking stuff on that smart TV, the crime scene photos, the autopsy,
those were literally the only things that they showed on the smart TV. But yes, carry on.
photos that honestly would create an audible gasp in the gallery. They were so upsetting. From what I could tell, he was just looking at them the entire time, but I couldn't always see his expression. Can you share maybe, did you look at him during those moments when he was seeing some of these horrible things on the screen? Did he look? Because I know there were times where I felt like he didn't look at things that had to do with him, but I was curious. I've been wanting to ask somebody that had a better view.
Literally, who gives a fuck? Why are these the questions we're asking him?
I guess I'm really confused on where Jerry Holeman was sitting in comparison to Richard Allen, that he would have been able to see so much of his face.
This says gag order lifted. Interview with Delphi's lead investigator, Jerry Holeman. Why aren't we talking about the things that he was under a gag order and couldn't talk about for the past 7 years?
No, we'd rather talk about Post-it notes being passed around in the courthouse
by the defense team.
She doesn't know any of those things. I don't. She doesn't.
So then don't do the interview. Don't do the fucking interview. Have somebody else come on with you that can ask questions that does know.
Can't do that.
Like, this is just so bizarre. I don't care if he, like, either way, his answer to how Richard Allen was reacting when those photos were on the screen is going to be the wrong reaction. Period. So what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't recall it exactly, but there was times where he would just kind of look at me like he was staring into space over the TV when some of those were.
Okay.
Sometimes he would look away or look down, but I wasn't, again, focused on him.
He also literally just told you that at some points he saw him getting emotional. Like, why couldn't he just end it at that?
But yeah, I would say little to no emotion, whether he was, like I said, staring off. He stared into space a lot. It looked to me like at the ceiling or at the wall or
like kind of like maybe like he's still mentally fucked up and like deprived. His senses are deprived, maybe.
Or he would read his Bible. Occasionally, he had a pocket Bible, and he would pull that out and read it sometimes. But yeah, I didn't notice a whole lot about him, to be honest.
It sounds like you noticed a whole lot. about
Yeah,
everyone,
didn't notice a
including
whole
what
lot
they're
about him,
thinking.
but I noticed a whole lot about him.
Yeah.
Have you met or talked to any of the jurors? Can I ask you that?
No, I have not. I've never met him or talked to him, and I don't know if anybody has. I've never been told. I would think that the prosecutor may have communicated with the foreman. That's what they're called, I think.
Oh,
Come
buddy.
on.
If you're going to be an apprentice, you could know like the basics, sir. Like, do you know what an objection is? I think they're called the foreman. Maybe they're called the foreskin. I think you talked to the foreskin. Maybe.
Chairperson, but I don't know.
The chairperson? Okay.
What?
All right.
No, I can't. I don't.
God
know
damn,
any
you are a dumb
involvement.
motherfucker. Really, truly. You know, it's like voir dire, however you say it. Like, I don't fucking know how to say it, so I don't say it. I just don't say it ever. I avoid it at all
It
costs.
just depends on where you're from, but you could say some people just call it voir dire, and then some people call it voir dire.
What's the word you can't say that I know you avoid?
Well, it's
You know the
mostly
word.
what there. I don't know. Is there one? There used to be. It's typically when I'm reading. If there's words that are like I have to stop and think about them. The big one was always specificity. So I have to like say it slow. I can say it, but if I just do it like when I'm reading really fast, I can't. Metallurgist.
Metallurgist.
Yeah,
It's a
corroborate.
metallurgist.
Corroborate. Yeah, metallurgist.
Shoulder. DB, what are you saying? Because to be honest, I struggle to say the word shoulder.
Shoulder. I struggle to write the number 3.
Oh, now
I have to do it slow. Like other numbers, I can write them really fast. But if I go really fast, like writing a number 3, it looks like a number 2.
Oh, CH said you said specificity very nicely.
Yeah, but I have to do it. I have to do it really slow. Otherwise, it gets really messed up.
There's a word that they use in like all the filings that jams me up. It's what is there's they use it like all the time. I don't think it's pursuant. But it's like something like that, like something that they say all the time in all of the filings.
Yeah, once it's like in the filings that I'm trying to read through them, they just become, if they're like words I have to think about, precipice.
In fact, I think Angela also says the word, like, I think she gets jammed up on the word too. I just can't think of what it is. No.
Fiend has a problem writing W's. See, it's just, I don't know. It's like, there's things that my brain has to like stop to focus on versus like, I can just like, it's like automatic. Like I can just go through it. Sometimes I have to like stop and really think about it. Entrepreneur.
I think this is like a really good cleansing, how we're all like talking about our
deuces.
No, it's not precipitate. We're all talking about our flaws and things we can't say because we've been shitting on Jerry Holeman for 2 days now. We're not done yet.
We've got 2 minutes left of the interview.
3 minutes, but it seems like it's wrapping up. Like, but also, if we're talking about like the structure of an interview, it's like it doesn't feel like we're almost done. Like we're not wrapping up. Stop it, people!
Don't bring up Weber's toe. I will show it. Don't make me show it on Sleuthy's channel.
Voir dire.
February.
No, it's not pursuant. See, now you'll have to look like I'll have to put it in like
you want it to be like pursuant.
I'm just gonna tweet the word and nothing else. I'm just gonna tweet the word, whatever it is. Then we'll know. Like I'll go to a filing and I'll have to find it.
Show the toe. Kel's like, show the toe. Don't do a toe.
I'll do a die.
It's pronounced literature.
I'll tell you, this isn't how to pronounce it, but I'll tell you a word that really pisses me the fuck off. And I'll tell you why. I'm traumatized. So I was always really good at like reading and writing. I did like the spelling bees.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I was always like really good at English and reading and such. And so I was once in a spelling bee. This was still in Catholic school, so under 6th grade, somewhere in there. When I tell you the word, you'll realize we weren't like in super advanced classes. So anyway, I lost a spelling bee. I was literally about to win and lost a spelling bee. Guess what the word was? It was kindergarten. Kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
And I've hated the fucking word kindergarten. Like, I couldn't get my kid out of kindergarten so fast. Like, now he's in 1st grade. Like, if people was like, hey, what grade is he in? I'm like, the one before 1st. I despise. I will not write it. I will not text it. It is a trick word. Those motherfuckers. More syllables than marmalade. Can you imagine spelling like onomatopoeia and then fucking losing because you can't spell kindergarten? Oh, I see some spelling bee traumatized children in here. Mirror. I apologize to everyone who was about to win and then got a bullshit ass word and lost. DB. Imagine not being able to spell or say shoulder. No, I can't.
You know what? There's what on the word definitely. I have to stop and think about how to write it, like how it's spelled.
Yeah. That's it.
Like, does it have an E at the end, or do I take away the E? Like, I want to, like, is it definite and then like a Lee, or is it definitely?
You know what's weird? I write it every day, at work, but like the word dysfunction, for whatever reason, my brain wants to. I always start with DI. Like, I have to then go back and delete it because I always, something in my brain says that's how it's supposed to be spelled, DI, but it's not. If you didn't know, it's a DY.
Because it's dysfunctional.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I don't know what wire crossed in my brain that like makes me want to make it an I. And then like I look at it with a Y and I'm like, it still looks weird.
Oh yeah, separate's another one. It's like, why does it have all the A's instead of another E? Like, that's another one that I have to think about, like when I write.
I hate it. English is like the most fucked up, like the rules that we have.
Oh, it really
like my
is.
kid will come home and he'll be like, because like he's learning to read and stuff. So they learn like different sounds.
Oh, T-dub, that's terrible.
But it's really difficult to explain so he'll be reading something and he'll be doing really well and he'll read, let's say like read as read or vice versa. And I'm like, it's red. And he's like, why? And I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know. It just, he's like, well, it's spelled the same, mommy. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I know that because of the sentence, I know that it's supposed to be red. And he's like, but how do you know from the sentence? It's like, I'm not your teacher, dude. Ask your teacher.
Ask your teacher. You know what I also screw up?
Well, I said the teacher.
I try not to anymore, but I do, like the name Jan and the name Jane.
Oh, I've had a really bad experience with someone named Jane. Jayne. So.
Oh no, like Jane or Jan.
Why?
I don't know. I mix them up all the time, and when I was working in like with customers, we had a lady. Her name was one of those, and I always called her because I struggle with. I don't know why. So, but I can do it now because Jan is like Pan, and Jane is like Pain.
This like has me.
But I have to tell myself that when I see the name, so that I know which one it is.
Lynn and Marilyn. I don't know. Ask your teacher. I don't know. Ask your teacher. Shibby, ask your teacher. Then I'm sending the teacher a message and I'm like, are you teaching him? Why is he asking me all these questions?
It has to do with the words that are around it.
Yeah, but he's like, but how do you know like the words that are around it? Like, how do you explain shit to a kid? Like, I'm sorry, but being a teacher, like, I can't do it.
The English language is more about memory than it is about understanding. That's how
Absolutely.
I feel about it. You just have to remember that that's what it is.
Especially when like different like letters make different, so a little bit like, so like a G. Well, sometimes it makes a G sound, sometimes it makes a J sound. And like when he asks me why, gist
You need to
is
tell him to
pronounced
stop
like
asking
that
why.
instead of gist, and I'm like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It just is.
Secretion.
What? This should not even be a word. Say it.
And anrid-establishmentarianism.
Disestablish.
Disestablish. Disestablishmentarianism. Ism.
Yeah. What the fuck does that mean?
Was it anti-establish?
Oh, was it spelled wrong? Because that is
anti-establishmentarianism.
That was a dirty trick.
Yeah, anti-establishment.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Thank goodness. I believe you. God. Listen, we have 3 minutes left. How are we allowing ourselves?
I don't know. We've already gone off the rails. Go. Do it.
Yeah, wait. Like, man, what is the answer? When my kid says, why is wait spelled like that? Also, he'll say, how does a GH make that sound? I don't know. Whoever come up with English,
you got to stop with the Y's. That's what you got to tell him. Stop with the Y's.
So my little brother, when he was little, he's not little anymore, but when he was little, he had a friend who was like that friend who constantly, like, he had to know everything. He would ask why until you stop breathing. Like, you were not outlasting how many times he could ask you why. Everything that happened, why? I'm like, you got to go home, dude. Why? Because you don't fucking live here. Why? It was so bad. Like, I want my kid to be curious, but like not that curious.
Not annoying.
No.
With anybody.
Finish up, Jerry.
They kept them pretty secure. They were in and out of the courtroom. And normally after a trial, the prosecution is allowed, the investigators are allowed to go talk to the jury.
So you don't know that the foreman is the name of the person who is the foreman. Listen to me. Jesus Christ. The foreperson. You don't know what a foreperson is, but now you're telling us that usually they're allowed to go talk to the jury after they're done. How do you know this?
Does he say why they weren't allowed to hear?
Nope.
Case, to my knowledge, nobody's talked to him.
No, we just didn't.
I think I just want to end.
Yeah, let's
why
just
didn't
end.
why didn't you guys do that here?
No, we're not asking you follow up. We just want to end. She's like, man, I'm fucking tired now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Recording, everyone, while our Hidden Gems will be watching this a couple of days later. Today, the date of this recording is December.
So that's all of it. That was all of it. December 27th is when they recorded this.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
I like RC Cola All Ice.
A lot of F-bombs.
51,000 views.
Dang.
Oh, well.
It was odd. That was an odd interview. It was interesting, though. I'm glad that he came on. Glad that he came on and shared all that with us.
I hope he keeps talking, because
There's nobody else to talk to unless he goes with Gray Hughes.
Oh my God.
Who else is he going to talk to? Fig? Fig and Gray is the only other ones.
Well, any of the people that he talks to on a regular basis, I assume.
Yeah, but most of them don't have channels. They're just social media rats.
Well, what about Frank?
Oh, Frank Meister?
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd go on Frank Meister.
He said he talks to Holeman.
Yeah, he said he talks to
Jerry.
Holeman, but I don't know if he'd go on Frank Meister's. It'd probably be on Fig. I would say he'd probably go with Fig and Gray.
Fig and Gray. Shit is insane.
That was worthless.
Yeah, basically. It took us 2 days to finish.
What a worthless interview.
Could you imagine? Okay, so you can't talk for so long that you have the exact like amount of years and months, but you start off by saying, I haven't been able to speak for 7 years and 10 months. I've been on this for 7 years and 10 months. I'm surprised you didn't give us like the day and hour breakdown, and then didn't have shit to say about the course of that 7 years, except like, just trust me, bro. We looked into these guys for months and months and months.
Bottom line. Yep. Bottom line. That's what we did. We did this. Bottom line. That was, I don't know. That was, I felt like that was worthless. You want to play the presser? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I can.
Or I can play. I'll play it. Maybe I'll play it tomorrow.
Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to have a whole live about it? I missed your intro song, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm going to go live tomorrow, so maybe I'll just watch it live and do my reaction live. No, I haven't seen it, RM. I missed a lot of stuff. I'll just say that. I missed a lot of stuff. And then I was like, I got to do this first before I can watch this, before I can watch that. No, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll go live tomorrow and I'll play it. You can come with me, Sleuthy, if you want to.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the presser. We'll do the impact statements.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that'll be good.
This has been 2 hours and 20 minutes anyway. I want to say the presser maybe lasted an hour. They did take some questions, but they were like they were garbage, per usual.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Except for the fact that
I was saying, wait a minute, I'll do it tomorrow because I haven't had dinner.
Except for like Nick saying that like he wouldn't say anybody's cleared and this and that, but like I didn't go to bed till like 4 o'clock in the morning, so I'll get rest because I was like paying attention, but not like really paying attention. I'm just excited to hear how you're gonna react.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'll just do it live. I'll do it live.
I can't wait. You can wait. You can wait. We've been waiting for Teresa for a month now.
I know it's been bad.
I was playing my intro song and I was like, this is trash. Where is Teresa? Like, I'm like, and it used to be a banger, really. Like, this is garbage. I need to find like a friend in design to make me a nice intro video and song and shit, but it's not going to be the same.
I do love my intro and I have missed it.
It's excellent. You should never change it. I mean, you could change the video or whatever, but like, don't ever change the song because it's such like a hauntingly beautiful song. Like, there's nothing. I have yet to hear anything that I like as much as
that. When I very first started this channel, I had a different intro song, and Christine, my friend who'd made the intros for me, they were she switched it and she was like, just use this new one, and I'm like, what? I like my old one, and she's like, no, just use the new one. Because I kept getting copyrights and we had to like write to YouTube to say like, no, we bought, like, it's a subscription to whatever. And,
oh yeah.
And, you know, like we're allowed to use the song, but I had to keep sending that document in like over and over again to get my monetization back. And so she's like, no, just do this one. And so I was like, oh, fine, I'll do it. And everybody loved it so much. And now I'm like, I don't know if I could ever go back.
No, you can't change it. I will raise holy hell in the chat.
You even got me to do an outro.
Yeah, so we could all hear it twice.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
All right, let's do it tomorrow.
All right, let's go to bed.
Okay. Well,
thanks everybody for being here. If Jerry Holeman's watching, I mean this
Jerry Holeman, just do an interview with somebody who's going to ask you the fucking questions that we actually want the answers to. Because none of us give a shit about who passed Post-its to who in the courtroom.
Like at all. Like I couldn't care any less about that. Also, it's not funny.
Murder Sheet did that. They're the only ones who've copyright struck me and tried to shut down my video. So then I made a new video and then I won the copyright strike. Anyway, so I got the old video back. So now I have it twice.
Oh, is that the one where like they let us get like 3 hours, 4 hours into a live stream and then oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was fun. Also, if you're Dr. Monica Walla, if you're watching,
she's got some explaining to do. She needs to do something.
There's no explanations that she could give me that would be acceptable. I
don't know if I believe her.
I would not. Every day, like I said, every day, I become more disgusted with her, with you. If you're here listening, fuck you. I find it really, if I had any say in the matter, you would never, ever, ever, ever
No. Yeah, she
see
would never
another
practice.
patient another day in your life if it was up to me. If
Or me.
there was any letter I could write, or report I could file that would immediately get to where you could never, ever sit across from another patient that needs mental health services ever again, I would absolutely do it.
Yep. And I would also write the letter to make sure that Jerry Holeman can't investigate anything ever again.
Oh, same. Jerry needs like, you know how you get like proficiency exam, like, so after a certain number of years, they even do it with like hair cutting. Like after a certain number of years, I feel like you should have to take a test. If you don't know shit still, yeah, you should have to become smarter and better at your job to be able to keep doing it. And I'm concerned he would not pass like a basic test. I think he's confused about basically everything that his job entails.
Jerry Holeman, what is probable cause? Jerry Holeman, what do you do if somebody walks into the police station wearing sweatpants?
They know they're going to jail, especially if they hand me their wallet.
Yep.
Straight to jail.
Run straight to jail. Arrest them. That's probable cause right there.
He literally sat there for almost 2 hours in an interview after he couldn't speak for almost 8 years. And his only explanation for how he knew that Richard Allen was guilty was because he was odd. He was dressed odd. He said things that Jerry Holeman found odd. He acted in a way that Jerry Holeman thought was odd.
Shouldn't it be suspicious?
No, just odd.
I know, but I mean, like, wouldn't he be like, it made me suspicious when he said
I wonder if he can say suspicious. I'm a little suspicious that he can't even say that word.
Suspicious.
I feel like he would have edited that out because I can't say that word. Oh my God, wouldn't it be crazy if Jerry's the one that replaced Doug Carter? Because he was very adamant in the presser that he would walk across shards of hot glass for Jerry, and he seemed so hell-bent on making sure that you knew that Jerry was not a liar. Wouldn't it be hilarious? Not for the people that live in Indiana, of course, but if he was like, I'm retiring, and this man, Jerry Holeman, will take my place.
I always thought as soon as they promoted him to lieutenant and we knew that Carter was going to be retiring after the trial, I thought it was going to be Jerry Holeman, but somebody commented to me, and I don't remember who it was, that
someone said who it is. We know who it is.
Yeah, that they already know who it is.
Yeah, I do too. I just don't remember.
That's surprising.
I don't know who it is. Who knows? Kara's the one that said. Kara told me who it was. No, I'm not playing the clip. We are leaving. We're going to bed.
Well, I'm going to eat dinner.
I'm probably going to watch somebody else. I'm going to find someone that doesn't play ads so I can listen to it while I go to sleep. And then when I find the word that I was thinking of, I'll tweet it. So when you see just like a random word, that's where it's coming from.
Tag me in the tweet.
Okay. All right, we're leaving. Love you. Bye. Good night,
Okay,
Teresa.
love you, bye.
Bye.